Soft winds whisper through ancient lands, carrying stories of devotion, faith, and the quiet struggles of hearts seeking the divine. Let us drift slowly together, across deserts and rivers, through the golden sands of Mesopotamia, where temples once rose beneath the gentle sun, and prayers hung softly in the evening air. In these hours, we will journey not with haste, but with calm reflection, tracing the threads of faith that wove the lives of those before us. Conflicts, yes, but also the gentle pulse of human yearning, the quiet light that shone through even the most turbulent times. Let the spirit move freely. Let the stories settle softly in your mind, like starlight across still waters, as you prepare to drift into peaceful slumber. If these stories bring you peace, softly press like or subscribe to share this calm with your nights. Perhaps leave a comment telling us where your dreams carry you tonight. Softly, the morning light stretches over the fertile plains of Sumer. You float above the gentle rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates, watching their waters ripple slowly, reflecting the first hues of a pale sun. The air carries a faint scent of damp earth, of reeds along the riverbanks, and of clay warmed by the gentle glow of dawn. Somewhere in the distance, the soft clatter of pottery being shaped drifts upward, mingling with the faint songs of birds awakening. The cities begin to stir quietly, not with haste, but with a rhythm that matches the heart. Low, earthy huts and early stone houses nestle close to the rising ziggurats, their towering steps reaching toward the soft blue of the morning sky. From the temples, a gentle chorus of voices rises, whispering prayers into the thin, cool air. Each prayer, each soft murmur, seems to hang above the city like a delicate thread of light, weaving together the lives of those who live below. Soft winds move across the plains, carrying the distant echo of a drum, so faint it is almost a sigh. The drum calls not to battle or fear, but to attention, to the quiet opening of the spirit. You drift closer, and the voices of the early priests and priestesses mingle with the sound of flowing water, creating a rhythm that feels like a heartbeat beneath the earth itself. Here, devotion is gentle, a constant companion to the people as they rise and prepare for the day. The ziggurats, made of sun-baked mud and brick, shine in the soft light, their steps creating terraces that seem to float in the air. Each level holds an altar, each altar a quiet place of offering. Smoke from small fires drifts upward, carrying the scent of incense and soft herbs, curling into the sky and fatting into nothing. You can almost feel the warmth of these fires on your face, the gentle heat that lulls the city into a calm awareness. People move with quiet purpose. Women carry baskets of fruit and grain, their steps light across the worn paths. Men draw water from the river, their arms strong but movements unhurried. Children, with hair ruffled by the breeze, laugh softly as they chase one another, their joy simple and pure. All of this happens under the watchful gaze of the gods, whose presence is felt in every step, every breath, and every gentle word spoken in the temples. Here in the dawn of sacred cities, the world feels soft, malleable, and open. The people of Sumer do not rush. Even in their small conflicts, there is a rhythm, a gentle balancing of needs and desires. You can sense it in the way the market opens slowly, the way the priests move among the faithful, the way the animals graze without fear. Harmony, though fragile, hums quietly beneath all things. The gods themselves are present, not as distant or terrifying forces, but as soft lights woven into the lives of the people. Anu, the sky god, stretches above, his presence felt in the pale light of morning. Enlil, master of air and wind, moves with the breezes that ripple the reeds. Enki, the god of water, flows beneath the rivers, shaping them with gentle patience. Each deity watches, not with judgment but with care, attending to the quiet rhythms of life as though the people were notes in a soft, endless song. In the temples, the rituals begin. A priestess lifts a bowl of water to her lips and lets it spill over the altar, letting it drip slowly into the sacred stone. Each droplet becomes a prayer, falling into the silence of the temple. Candles flicker, and shadows dance softly across walls carved with stories of the gods and their gentle guidance of humanity. The light moves slowly, caressing each carving, each symbol, as if tracing the lines with a quiet, invisible hand. Softly, you notice the people leaving small offerings at the temple steps. Grain, flowers, and clay figurines, all placed with care and reverence. Their hands move gently, almost as if afraid to break the delicate silence that surrounds the ziggurat. The air is filled with a soft rustle, the movement of cloth and feet, and the faint scent of oils used to anoint both walls and hands. Even the smallest gestures feel immense here, as though the heart of the city itself beats with them. The sun rises higher, painting the city in a gentle golden light. Dust floats lazily through the air, catching the sunlight and scattering it into soft sparkles. The river mirrors the sky, smooth and calm, carrying reflections of boats gliding slowly, their movements as quiet as a thought. You float above the water, watching, feeling the serenity of the scene settle deep into your chest, as though the city itself breathes you in and lets you drift alongside it. Even in the quiet moments of the day, there is an undercurrent of devotion. The city knows both joy and sorrow, but the rhythm of life is steady, a soft pulse guiding each person. A baker places fresh bread outside his shop, the scent drifting gently through the streets. Children pause to watch small birds hop along the paths. A woman gathers herbs, crushing them softly between her fingers to release their scent. Every moment is small, quiet, and meaningful. The ziggurats, their tops now bathed in sunlight, seem to hold the sky in their steps. Pilgrims climb slowly, pausing at each level, touching the stone as if it were the skin of the divine. Their faces are serene, their breathing slow, almost echoing the rhythm of the city below. With each step, they offer silent prayers, and with each step, the wind seems to carry their words higher, blending with the soft murmur of the rivers. At midday, the city rests. Shadows deepen under walls and in alleys, and the heat softens into stillness. The rivers move steadily, carrying reflections of the sun and clouds, and you notice how the people adjust, slowing their pace, letting the calmness wrap around them like a gentle cloth. Some sit in the shade of palm trees, tracing soft patterns in the sand. Some visit the smaller shrines scattered between homes, placing simple gifts with tender care. The spirit of devotion is always present, soft and unassuming, yet strong enough to sustain the city. Even the animals move with the city's rhythm. Goats graze along the outskirts, their bells tinkling like soft chimes. Cats wander between homes, brushing past the legs of people with quiet trust. Birds rise from the riverbanks in slow, deliberate flocks, circling the city as though blessing it from above. Nature and humanity intertwine, each breathing in the same soft harmony. As afternoon fades into evening, the city's lights take on a warm, gentle glow. Lamps are lit in homes and temples, flickering softly against walls. The air cools, carrying the sense of evening incense and cooking fires. You can hear the distant beat of drums, calling the faithful to prayer once more. Their sound is slow, a soft heartbeat that vibrates gently through the air, connecting hearts across the city. Soft chants rise from the ziggurats, weaving together the prayers of many voices. The sound is not commanding, but embracing, wrapping the city in quiet warmth. Each note feels like a ripple across a calm pond, spreading slowly, touching every heart. You float above the city, feeling the serenity settle deeper into your chest, imagining the prayers rising into the sky, forming invisible threads of light connecting earth and heaven. As night falls, the stars begin to appear one by one. Their light is faint but steady, like small candles in the vastness of space. The rivers shimmer under their reflection, and the ziggurats stand like silent sentinels, holding the prayers of the day within their stones. The city exhales gently, the rhythm of life slowing, softening, preparing for rest. In these final hours of the day, the devotion of Sumer feels eternal. Even as people sleep, even as the fires die down, the presence of the gods lingers. Their light, gentle and constant, continues to touch the river, the streets, the homes, and the hearts of those who dreamed beneath it. Every whisper of wind, every ripple of water, every faint glow of candlelight carries the echo of devotion, soft and enduring. Let us drift onward over the quiet rivers, above the sleeping ziggurats, feeling the gentle pulse of a city devoted to the sacred. The stars above guide us, the soft winds carry us, and the memory of prayers lingers, wrapping around us like a warm, quiet blanket. Now rest, as the stars return, as the rivers murmur softly, and as the dawn waits patiently for another day in the sacred city of Sumer. The rivers move gently through the land, carrying quiet songs that stretch back across centuries. You float above the Tigris and Euphrates, their waters calm, reflecting the soft glow of a rising sun. Each ripple seems to hold a memory, a whisper from long ago, as if the rivers themselves remember every prayer, every offering, and every quiet conversation with the divine. Along the banks, reeds sway in soft rhythm with the currents, brushing lightly against one another. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of wet earth and blooming lilies. You drift slowly, feeling the soft touch of the wind on your face, the gentle sway of the water beneath your gaze, as though the rivers themselves are breathing, guiding, and welcoming every living thing along their course. Small boats drift lazily on the water, their hulls smooth and worn from years of carrying grain, fish, and quiet travelers. The people on them move softly, with tender attention, aware of the river's presence and the life they bring. A priestess offers a small bowl of water to the river, letting it spill over the edge and join the flowing current. Each droplet seems to sing, a gentle hymn that joins the larger song of the waters. The rivers are more than water. They are pathways for devotion, mirrors of the sky, and cradles for life. Children play along the banks, splashing softly, their laughter gentle like wind chimes in the distance. Women gather reeds and herbs, dipping their hands into the water, feeling its coolness seep into their palms, a quiet reminder of the God's presence in all that moves and lives. You drift past small temples built near the water's edge. Their steps lead gently into the rivers, where offerings are left for the gods of water, fertility, and sustenance. Soft smoke curls from clay bowls, carrying the scent of frankincense and soft herbs. Each offering is a small gesture of devotion, a whisper into the endless rhythm of the rivers. The water flows steadily, carrying these whispers downstream, where they mingle with countless others in a quiet, eternal chorus. The priests and priestesses move with a measured pace, their sandals brushing softly against stone and sand. Each movement is deliberate, careful, a meditation in itself. They pour libations, recite prayers, and touch the flowing water with reverent hands. Their voices rise like a gentle murmur, not demanding attention, but floating softly into the air, harmonizing with the whispering reeds and the soft lap of water along the riverbank. Even the animals of the river join this quiet rhythm. Birds dip into the water and rise again, wings glistening in the morning light. Fish stir below the surface, moving with delicate precision, each a small reflection of the river's eternal motion. Goats and cattle graze along the banks, soft bells tinkling as they shift slowly across the sand. The harmony of life here is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it cradles the city in a gentle embrace. The Tigris and Euphrates carry more than life. They carry stories. Softly, you imagine the voices of mortals reaching into the waters, mingling with those of the gods. Enki, the gentle master of rivers, guides each current with tender care. His presence is felt in the quiet steadiness of the flow, in the soft touch of waves against stone, and in the way the rivers nourish both earth and spirit. You feel the calm of the god's watchful attention, his steady rhythm echoing in your chest like a soft heartbeat. Along the banks, you notice small gardens where families plant vegetables and herbs, their hands moving with calm, patient care. Water drawn from the rivers irrigates these plots, each droplet a gift of life. Even in the midst of human desire and toil, the rivers move silently, reminding all who touch them of the quiet guidance of the divine. Every plant, every root, every flower bends gently toward the water, seeking its nourishment and giving back beauty in return. As the day moves on, the sunlight dances across the ripples of the rivers, glimmering like countless tiny stars. The priests chant softly, their words harmonizing with the gentle lap of water on boats and stones. Some chants speak of creation, of the first waters flowing over the earth, of God shaping land and sky with quiet patience. Others honor the living city, the people, the crops, and the animals that thrive because the rivers move steadily, endlessly, without interruption. Soft shadows lengthen across the banks as afternoon drifts into evening. The light becomes warmer, richer, touching the temples and gardens with gold and amber. You notice children still playing, quieter now, their laughter drifting softly on the breeze. Women bring small bowls to the water, adding herbs and flowers to the currents. Each action is slow and deliberate, a gentle acknowledgement of the river's sacredness. You float closer to a ziggurat perched at the river's edge. Its steps descend almost to the water, offering a bridge between earth and sky. On each step, offerings of water and small gifts glimmer in the fading light. Candles flicker on the edges, their flames soft and unsteady, reflecting in the calm waters like tiny stars fallen to earth. The scene feels like a painting, carefully drawn by hands that move with patience and devotion. Evening brings a quiet stillness over the land. The rivers shimmer under the soft glow of moonlight, each ripple carrying the faint scent of wet reeds and distant flowers. A gentle wind rises, brushing across the water and through the city, carrying with it the sound of soft prayers and muted footsteps. The rhythm of the river slows, as if aware that night has arrived, wrapping the land and all its beings in a tender, protective cloak. You drift among the temples, watching the priests perform their final rituals of the day. Soft words rise and fall like gentle waves, and water is poured into small basins, its surface catching the last light of day. The motions are unhurried, reverent, as though every drop and gesture contains the weight of love and devotion. The rivers carry these gestures onward, mingling them with all that has come before, forming an endless chain of quiet offering and gratitude. The animals begin to settle as well. Birds roost among the reeds, their wings folding softly against their sides. Goats lie in the sand and small fish drift lazily near the riverbanks. Even the air seems to sigh, a soft exhale that carries a sense of completion and peace. You notice how the rivers mirror the sky above, reflecting the first stars as they appear, faint points of light in the calm, deep blue of evening. Here in the gentle twilight, the presence of the gods feels near but never overwhelming. Enki's waters move patiently, Enlil's soft winds stir the reeds, and Anu's quiet gaze seems to stretch across the land, touching every soul. Their attention is calm, steady, a reminder that even in moments of uncertainty, the world is held in soft, protective hands. You drift slowly along the riverbanks, watching as lanterns are lit in small homes and temples. Their flames flicker softly, blending with the reflection of the stars in the water. Families gather quietly to eat, to rest, to offer prayers for the day that has passed. The rhythm of life slows here, becoming gentle, almost imperceptible, yet deeply present, like the slow pulse of the rivers themselves. The night deepens, and the rivers continue their endless motion. Each ripple carries memory, devotion, and the soft laughter and tears of countless generations. You float above the currents, feeling the water's embrace, letting it soothe every thought and quiet every worry. The rivers are endless, patient, and kind, guiding life and devotion with gentle, invisible hands. Softly, the moon reaches its zenith, casting silver light across the waters. The temples are quiet now, their steps empty of footsteps, yet still holding the warmth of the day's offerings. You notice how the stars glimmer faintly on the river's surface, as if the heavens themselves join in this quiet celebration of life, water, and divine presence. Let us drift onward, carried by the river's steady motion, past gardens, temples, and gentle homes, past animals resting softly in the night, and beyond the reach of the waking world. Each ripple carries serenity, each whisper of water a lullaby, and each flicker of light a tender promise that the gods' care is always present. Now rest as the stars return, as the soft waters murmur against the earth, and as the moonlight wraps the land in quiet, protective embrace. The rivers flow endlessly, and in their motion, they carry you gently into calm sleep, carrying the prayers and whispers of all who have come before. The first light of dawn spreads softly across the plains. You float gently above the city, where stone temples rise like quiet sentinels, their steps catching the morning glow. Shadows stretch long and thin, melting into the soft folds of sunlight, and the air smells faintly of warm stone, morning dew, and the faint smoke of offerings still smoldering from the night. The temples are not grand in their hurry. They are patient, enduring, made to hold prayers and devotion across time. You drift slowly along the outer walls, feeling the soft wind ripple across carved reliefs. The images tell gentle stories of gods shaping rivers, of mortals offering gifts, of quiet acts of care that echo through centuries. Light plays across these carvings, softening the edges, making each figure glow like a memory. Within the courtyards, a faint murmur rises like water over stones. Priests move slowly, carefully, their hands brushing over stone altars and the small bowls of offerings placed there by faithful hands. The bowls are filled with grains, flowers, and small clay figurines. Each gesture is deliberate, tender, a soft conversation between the human and the divine. Even in tension, there is care. Priesthoods may have their disagreements, but their devotion remains gentle, steady, and ever-present. Soft drums echo in the distance, almost imperceptible, marking the rhythm of prayer. The sound does not demand attention but drifts along the corridors of the temple, a heartbeat felt rather than heard. It mingles with the rustle of robes and the faint sigh of the wind through open doorways. You notice the priests pausing to bow, letting their breath settle, allowing the rhythm of the temple to match the rhythm of the city itself. Light moves across the inner halls. Sunbeams slip through carved windows, tracing lines across the floors and walls. The shadows follow, shifting softly, sometimes hiding, sometimes revealing the delicate features of stone reliefs. The interplay of light and shadow feels alive, like a gentle dance. It reminds you that even in the quiet tensions, even in moments of difference, there is harmony waiting, resting in the balance of day and night. In a smaller side chamber, a priestess kneels beside a basin of water. She dips her hand slowly, letting the cool liquid flow over her fingers, watching it shimmer in the soft sunlight. Each droplet seems to carry a prayer, rising into the air as vapor and joining the faint smoke of incense curling toward the ceiling. The scent is subtle, calming, a mixture of dried flowers, soft herbs, and earth warmed by the morning sun. You drift to the outer steps, where offerings from the faithful rest quietly. Flowers lean toward the sun, petals soft and delicate. Bowls of grain glint with the gentle light, and small clay figurines hold their silent presence, quiet witnesses to the devotion of those who have come before. The air hums softly with reverence, and even the faint wind seems to pause, carrying nothing but the gentle sounds of prayer and quiet footsteps. The temples are alive, though not in the ways of cities or markets. Their life is still, measured, present in every stone, every carved line, every flicker of candlelight. Inside, shadows linger in corners, but they are not frightening. They are part of the temple's rhythm, a soft counterpoint to the light, reminding all who enter that peace often lives alongside quiet tension, that stillness can hold both warmth and shade. Priesthoods walk among these spaces with careful respect. There is a gentle awareness of one another, an understanding that each gesture, each movement, carries meaning beyond the surface. Sometimes disagreements arise, soft murmurs over the right placement of offerings or the sequence of chants. Yet even in these moments, there is no harshness, only a slow, measured negotiation, like two hands reaching for the same river stone without disturbing the water's calm. Outside, the city hums with life. Soft footsteps echo in alleys, children's laughter drifts along sunlit paths, and the river murmurs nearby. The temple absorbs it all, translating the quiet chaos into harmony. Each day, the stones hold these moments, letting light and shadow mingle, softening conflicts into lessons that drift through time. You sense the gentle patience of the divine here, waiting for hearts to open and minds to settle. Sunlight grows stronger, spilling across the upper terraces. Candles flicker, their flames reflecting in small pools of water on stone surfaces. The reflections dance slowly, merging light and shadow in delicate patterns. Birds move among the temple rooftops, their wings soft against the warm air. Each movement feels deliberate, part of the temple's rhythm, part of the quiet devotion that fills the space. The sound of soft chanting rises again, a gentle tide that flows through corridors and courtyards. Each note is careful, deliberate, like a stone placed on a riverbank to guide the flow. The voices mingle with the distant drum, the soft murmur of the river, and the quiet rustle of leaves. Even the faintest whisper feels important here, every breath carrying meaning. You float through the inner sanctum, where the air is thick with the soft scent of incense and the warmth of sunlight filtering through carved windows. The stone feels cool under your imagined fingertips, smooth and steady, a gentle reminder that even permanence can be soft, even structure can hold tenderness. Small pools of water mirror the sky above, reflecting light into corners that would otherwise remain shadow. Offerings continue to arrive quietly, left by hands that touch stone, water, and flame with reverence. Flowers bend toward the sunlight, grains glint softly, and the smallest clay figurines seem to hum with presence. You feel the calm of these acts, their soft weight carried upward into the vast spaces above the temple, joining unseen prayers in a gentle, continuous stream. Softly, the temple moves into afternoon. Shadows lengthen, stretching across steps and courtyards. The light shifts, warm and amber, revealing details hidden in earlier brightness. The priests pause, adjusting robes, moving offerings, and ensuring that each gesture carries the care and devotion intended. The temple's heartbeat is slow, steady, and gentle, like the soft rhythm of a river flowing beneath the city. The interplay of light and shadow is a quiet teacher. It shows how contrasts exist not to fight one another, but to create depth and harmony. You notice how the warmth of sunlight enhances the cool stone, how shadows lend relief and definition to the carvings. Here, the divine teaches through presence, through quiet patience, and through the balance of elements in gentle conversation. Birdsong drifts along corridors, mingling with soft footsteps and faint murmurs of prayer. Even the smallest sounds feel important, echoing through the temple halls like soft bell tones. You drift above the terraces, feeling the calm pulse of devotion flowing through the stone and air. Every element is connected, every gesture a thread in the quiet tapestry of sacred life. As evening approaches, lanterns are lit along the steps. Their light is soft, golden, trembling in a gentle breeze. Candles flicker within the inner sanctum, reflecting in small pools of water, merging with the shadows to create a delicate mosaic. The temples seem to glow from within, not from fire alone, but from the calm devotion of countless hearts, each contributing a quiet note to the harmony of the space. Soft wind brushes through the courtyards, carrying the faint scent of herbs, incense, and earth. The prayers of the day linger, floating invisibly through open windows and across stone terraces. Even the quiet conflicts of priesthoods, resolved gently in the soft rhythm of life, add to the texture of the temple, reminding all who enter that peace grows not from perfection, but from patience, care, and the gentle balance of light and shadow. The moon rises slowly over the temple rooftops, bathing the stone in pale, silver light. Shadows deepen and soften, merging into the calm embrace of night. The rivers nearby murmur softly, carrying the echoes of offerings and prayers into the distance. You drift above the temples, sensing their quiet endurance, their steady rhythm, and the gentle presence of the divine in all that is seen and unseen. Let us drift onward, through corridors of stone and pools of reflected light, over steps warmed by the day and cooled by evening air. The temples of Sumer cradle the quiet devotion of their people, their presence steady and reassuring. Now rest, as the stars return, as the moonlight wraps the city in calm, and as the temples settle into the soft stillness of night. The early morning light spills softly over the city walls. You drift above the rooftops, feeling the quiet warmth of the sun as it touches stone and clay. In the heart of the city, the palace rises with gentle authority, its high walls and broad terraces holding the calm rhythm of daily life. Soft winds carry the scent of gardens, of wet stone, and of the faint smoke from early offerings laid before the gods. The kings of Sumer move through their days with measured care. Their footsteps echo lightly on polished floors, a gentle rhythm that mirrors the heartbeat of the city. Each decision, each gesture, is considered slowly, as if the air itself can sense the weight of responsibility resting on their shoulders. Even in power, there is patience, a soft attentiveness to the land, the people, and the divine forces guiding them. You float through the palace halls, where sunlight filters through latticed windows, casting warm, shifting patterns across the floors. Servants move quietly, bringing small bowls of fruit or water, their steps blending with the low murmur of courtyards beyond. The kings pause often, listening, observing, touching each object and surface with gentle hands. Their attention is soft but precise, a careful dialogue with the spaces around them. Soft tapestries line the walls, their patterns telling stories of gods and mortals, of rivers and skies, of harvests and offerings. You notice the subtle movements of light across the threads, making the figures appear to breathe. The kings walk among these images with reverence, as if drawing guidance from the woven stories, feeling the presence of ancestors and divine figures in the gentle glow of dawn. Outside, the city hums quietly. Market stalls begin to stir, though softly, with vendors arranging bowls of grain and baskets of fruit. Children laugh with quiet curiosity as they weave through the streets, their soft voices blending with the distant murmurs of river waters. From the palace windows, the kings watch this unfolding life, seeing both joy and quiet tension, knowing their choices ripple outward with every breath of the day. The kings are not distant. They touch the people with gentle gestures, a nod here, a soft word there, a blessing offered at the entrance of a temple. Each action carries meaning, not as command, but as part of a quiet, ongoing conversation between the rulers, the people, and the gods. Even in moments of tension, their movements are slow, careful, like stepping over stones in a flowing river, never disturbing the calm of what surrounds them. Soft drums mark the passing of hours, their rhythm felt more than heard. In the inner court, advisors gather, voices hushed, discussing the needs of the land and the care of its people. The kings listen with patient attention, their expressions gentle and still, allowing each word to settle before responding. Even when decisions carry the weight of future conflicts, their presence remains calm, a steady bridge between mortal concerns and divine guidance. You float into the gardens that surround the palace, where fountains bubble softly, reflecting sunlight and casting moving shadows across stone paths. Trees sway lightly in the breeze, their leaves brushing against one another in quiet conversation. Here, the kings pause, sometimes walking slowly along the paths, sometimes stopping to touch a flower or watch a bird. These small moments carry significance, a gentle acknowledgement of life's beauty and fragility. The gods are always present in these halls. Statues stand in alcoves, silent but glowing softly in the light. Each king passes them with bowed head, a whisper of recognition and reverence. You sense the quiet energy of these divine presences, the gentle watchfulness of Anu above, the flowing patience of Enki, the soft breath of Enlil through wind and reed. The kings move among these reminders with ease, knowing their guidance is both gift and responsibility. Soft footsteps echo along corridors as decrees are carried from the inner chambers to courtyards below. Messages are delivered with care, ensuring that every word reaches its place without disturbance. The people receive these soft instructions, their lives touched by unseen currents of order and protection. Even as challenges arise, the kings' measured steps guide the city, creating a rhythm that is both firm and tender. You notice the subtle rituals woven into the daily life of the palace. Small offerings are placed on altars, candles are lit and extinguished with soft fingers, and water is poured into pools to reflect sunlight. The kings participate, their gestures deliberate but unhurried, carrying the weight of tradition lightly, almost invisibly. In these actions, the divine flows through human hands, softening power into care, authority into presence. Evening approaches gently, brushing the city with soft amber and violet hues. Lanterns are lit in the palace courtyards, their flames flickering like tiny stars fallen to earth. The kings move among their people, offering quiet words, blessings, and smiles. Their presence is not loud or demanding. It is a gentle current, guiding, protecting, and nurturing. Even the faintest rustle of a robe, the soft click of sandals, feels deliberate, part of the palace's calm heartbeat. From high terraces, the kings watch the rivers glow in the fading light. The Tigris and Euphrates reflect the sky in slow motion, each ripple a soft mirror of the heavens. Boats drift lazily, carrying grain, water, and quiet travelers, while children laugh softly along the banks. The kings feel this life beneath them, knowing their choices touch every river, every street, every garden. Their responsibility is heavy, yet carried with gentle grace, like the slow, deliberate movement of water over stone. Soft drums sound again in the distance, echoing faintly through the city. These beats mark time without haste, reminding all who listen of the flow of life and the quiet presence of divine rhythm. The kings, standing on terraces, feel the connection of city, river, and temple. Each breath, each step, each gesture is part of this sacred continuity, a gentle acknowledgement that power is not only authority, but care and attention. Lanterns glow softly in inner chambers, flickering against carved walls and polished floors. Candles reflect in pools of water, shimmering like stars in miniature. The kings pass through these spaces with calm, measured steps, aware of the silence that surrounds them. Even in shadows, there is warmth. Even in responsibility, there is light. The palace breathes slowly with them, a living space shaped by quiet devotion and steady guidance. The night deepens and the city slows. Soft winds brush along palace corridors and gardens, carrying the faint scent of herbs, incense, and wet stone. The kings move through these spaces gently, offering last blessings, pausing to touch altars and whispering prayers that rise softly into the night air. The calm of evening settles around the palace like a soft blanket, cradling the people and their rulers alike. Outside, stars begin to appear, each one a small point of steady light. The rivers mirror them, scattering reflections across the flowing surface. You drift above the city, sensing the gentle pulse of life and devotion intertwined with quiet rulership. The king's presence is soft yet enduring, like the stones of the palace or the currents of the rivers, a steady guide through the cycles of day and night. Softly the palace sleeps. The kings rest, knowing that even in their absence, the rhythm they have nurtured continues. Temples, rivers, and gardens carry the gentle echo of their footsteps, the quiet blessing of careful attention, and the enduring presence of guidance offered without haste or harshness. Every shadow, every light, every soft sound contributes to the harmony of this sacred city. Let us drift onward, past terraces, gardens, and flowing rivers, over lantern-lit courtyards and silent corridors, guided by the quiet presence of those who care for both people and gods. Their steps are soft, their hearts gentle, and their decisions ripple outward like the calm motion of water over smooth stones. Now rest as the stars return, as the moonlight wraps the palace in quiet, and as the gentle march of kings leads us into soft, serene dreams. The morning sun rises slowly over the city, spilling soft light across streets and courtyards. You drift gently along the edges of workshops and temples, where the hands of scribes and artisans move with quiet purpose. The scent of wet clay mingles with the warm earth, carrying with it the whispers of countless prayers and stories, preserved across time in careful lines pressed into soft, yielding surfaces. In these workshops, small hands press reed styluses into soft clay, leaving marks that will endure for centuries. Each stroke is deliberate, a conversation between the human spirit and the eternal. Some tablets carry gentle prayers for health, for rain, for abundant crops. Others tell of disputes, voices of disagreement that rise and fall like soft currents in a river. You float among these creations, feeling the calm patience of those who carve, knowing every mark is meant to touch the future with careful intention. The walls of the temples echo softly with the faint tapping of styluses and the murmur of monks reading aloud. Their voices carry gently through open doorways, rising and falling like the wind through reeds. You drift through these spaces slowly, letting each sound settle in your chest like a quiet heartbeat. The tablets themselves seem to hum with presence, their lines forming a delicate web that connects the people, the gods, and the passage of time. Some tablets rest in shallow baskets, drying in the sun. You watch as they glow softly in the morning light, the markings catching shadows that shift and sway. These are stories of devotion, of love and care, of small gestures meant to honor life and the divine. Even the disputes, gently recorded, hold a soft lesson, reminding all who read them that balance and patience are as sacred as any prayer. In a quiet courtyard, a scribe kneels, tracing a reed gently across clay, repeating lines she has copied countless times. Her movements are slow, almost meditative, each stroke a soft rhythm that blends with the murmur of nearby fountains. The clay is cool under her fingertips, yielding and steady, and as she works, the prayers of her people rise softly into the air, invisible but felt, drifting outward like pollen on a gentle breeze. You notice children learning nearby, small fingers pressed carefully into soft clay under the watchful gaze of elders. They form tiny impressions of stars, rivers, and animals, practicing the delicate lines that will someday speak their thoughts and prayers to the future. Each child's movement is unhurried, gentle, and filled with wonder, a soft echo of the devotion carried across generations. The tablets themselves are like mirrors of life, some serene, some tense. Softly, you feel the rhythm of daily existence in their marks. Prayers for rain sit beside requests for protection, soft reminders of the fragility and beauty of life. Disputes, recorded with care, are not harsh. They are careful words pressed into clay to be remembered, to teach patience and understanding, to guide hearts toward balance. In the inner sanctum of the temple, shelves hold tablets stacked neatly, their surfaces glowing faintly in the filtered light. Monks read aloud, their voices calm and even, weaving stories of gods and mortals, of floods and harvests, of stars that guide and rivers that carry life. You drift among these readings, feeling the soft hum of history as it settles into your mind, a quiet river of knowledge flowing gently into awareness. Outside, the air is soft with wind and the scent of wet earth. The city continues its quiet rhythm, the market stirring slowly, the river murmuring beside the walls. The tablets hold this life within their marks, capturing both the gentle harmony and the small unrest of human hearts. You sense the patient care that preserves them, the soft guidance that each story carries, and the gentle presence of the divine in every line. Some tablets tell of kings and rulers, their decisions carved into clay with precise, gentle strokes. These stories remind the people of the balance between authority and devotion, between care for the land and respect for the gods. Even in moments of tension, the words are measured, soft, deliberate, a quiet reminder that power carries responsibility and that guidance must always flow with gentleness. You float through the workshops again, noticing the variety of hands shaping clay. Some are old and steady, worn from years of careful work. Others are young, exploring, learning, discovering how their touch can leave a mark that endures. Every tablet, every impression, carries intention, a gentle whisper that reaches across centuries to touch hearts and minds in quiet, unseen ways. In a courtyard bathed in soft afternoon light, a priestess traces sacred patterns along a wet tablet, the reed stylus gliding smoothly across its surface. The patterns are gentle, flowing, almost like water rippling over stone. With each stroke, she feels a connection to ancestors and to the gods, a quiet presence that guides her hand without hurry, without demand. The tablet absorbs this calm, holding it forever in its warm, earthy form. Softly, the city begins to settle as evening approaches. Shadows stretch across walls and courtyards, mingling with golden light that slips through open windows. Candles flicker on altars, their flames mirrored in pools of water. The tablets rest, their surfaces dry and firm, glowing faintly in the soft lamplight. They hold the calm of the day, the gentle whispers of prayers, and the delicate lessons of both harmony and quiet dispute. You drift among them, feeling the soft pulse of history, of devotion, and of human care. Each mark pressed into clay is a gentle breath, a small act of patience, a quiet offering to the world. Even the disagreements recorded here are soft, like murmured words carried on a breeze, reminders of the delicate balance that holds life and devotion together. The night deepens and stars appear in the sky above, faint points of light mirrored in the river and in the smooth surfaces of the tablets. The air is still, soft with the scent of incense and earth. The city slows, moving in quiet harmony with the rhythm of the rivers, the temples, and the whispered stories pressed into clay. You feel the gentle presence of all who have lived and offered, their care woven into the texture of the world around you. Softly, you float past the last workshops, past the still pools and flickering candles, past the quiet courtyards where children once learned to press their small hands into clay. Each tablet holds its story, a whisper carried across time, a gentle echo that reminds all who encounter it of patience, devotion, and the enduring care of the human heart. Let us drift onward, leaving the soft glow of workshops and temples behind, past the quiet rivers and candlelit courtyards. The stories carved in clay continue to speak, their whispers blending with the night wind, carrying lessons, prayers, and soft memories into dreams. Now rest as the stars return, as the rivers hum softly in the distance, and as the gentle presence of devotion lulls the city and you into calm, peaceful sleep. Night settles softly over the plains, and the first stars appear, delicate points of light against the velvet sky. You drift gently above the city, feeling the cool whisper of wind as it brushes across rooftops and riverbanks. The temples below glow faintly, candles flickering in soft rhythm with the murmured prayers of those who seek guidance from the heavens. Each light feels like a heartbeat, steady, calm, and deliberate. The people of Sumer look upward with quiet reverence. Stars and planets are more than distant fires. They are guides, gentle voices of the divine, soft markers in the flow of life. You float alongside these watchers, sensing their stillness, the slow inhalation and exhalation of hope and devotion. The celestial bodies seem to respond, their soft gleams reflecting in pools of water and polished stone, connecting the earth to the heavens in a silent, luminous conversation. Astrologers kneel on temple terraces, tracing patterns in sand and clay, marking the paths of planets and the rising of constellations. Their hands move slowly, each gesture careful, a dance of attention that carries meaning across time. The soft scratching of styluses on clay is like a whisper, translating the rhythm of the sky into gentle guidance for kings, priests, and ordinary people alike. Each mark is deliberate, imbued with patience and reverence. Above, the stars trace slow, quiet arcs across the sky. You watch as their light touches the stone temples, reflecting along carvings and sacred bas-reliefs. The constellations themselves seem to shift imperceptibly, responding to prayers carried upward. Soft wind ripples through the courtyards, brushing leaves and gently rustling robes, carrying whispers of devotion that mingle with the cool night air. In one temple, a priestess kneels beside a basin of water. She traces the reflection of the stars with her fingertips, letting the ripples distort and soften the images. Each ripple becomes a meditation, a soft acknowledgement of the fluidity of life and the guidance of celestial presence. The planets, moving silently across the heavens, seem to lean toward her, their quiet glow a gentle answer to her whispered prayers. You drift to a quiet observatory above the city. Clay tablets line the walls, inscribed with records of celestial patterns and gentle predictions. They speak not of fear but of harmony, guiding crops, ceremonies, and journeys. Occasionally, rivalries emerge, small and soft, debates over interpretations, differing readings of light and shadow. But even these are conducted with measured calm, a quiet negotiation beneath the ever-present sky. The river mirrors the night, soft currents reflecting points of light, doubling the stars in the water's slow flow. Boats drift along, their oars gliding without hurry, moving in rhythm with the celestial pulse. You feel the gentle connection between river, city, and sky, a triad of stillness that enfolds the people in a tender embrace. Even distant drums, marking the rhythm of ritual, seem softened by the vastness of night. Children gaze upward, their small hands pointing at bright constellations. Their voices are quiet and soft, questions offered to the wind and answered only by the gentle twinkling of stars. Elders smile, leaning lightly on carved stone, offering explanations in calm whispers. The night teaches patience and wonder, showing that the heavens guide without command, illuminating the paths of life in quiet ways that ripple through hearts and minds. In the inner sanctum of the temple, candles flicker beside basins of water and small altars. The reflections in the water double the sky, creating a mirror of infinite light. Priests chant softly, their voices blending with the faint hum of the city at rest. Even in moments of rivalry or uncertainty, there is no harshness, only gentle guidance, flowing like a quiet stream that bends around obstacles, carrying devotion and intention onward. Soft shadows move among the courtyards. Lanterns glow faintly, marking the steps of the faithful who walk slowly to offer prayers for harvest, protection, or health. The celestial bodies above seem to lean closer, their light touching stone and water, temple and heart, with a calm, quiet energy. You sense the careful balance between earth and sky, a rhythm of harmony maintained by soft attention and measured care. Some tablets record omens of gentle storms or bountiful rains. Others preserve the alignment of planets, offering counsel to kings and priests. Even disagreements are soft, respectful, a careful negotiation of meaning rather than a clash of wills. You float among these inscriptions, sensing the care in every line, every mark pressed into clay to capture the quiet dialogue between humanity and the vast, luminous sky. The constellations move slowly, their arcs measured and deliberate. You notice the soft reflection of their motion in the rivers, in polished bronze, in pools of sacred water within temple courtyards. Each reflection seems to carry advice, a whisper that encourages patience and harmony. The faithful watch and follow, their hearts moving in rhythm with both the flow of celestial light and the quiet pulse of life on earth. High above, planets glimmer, distinct yet intertwined, their paths traced carefully by those who study their light. Rivalries between astrologers are quiet, gentle exchanges of interpretation. Their voices rise and fall softly, like a river through reeds, teaching all who listen that difference can exist alongside reverence, and that harmony is built not by force, but by patient understanding. You drift past a terrace where a young scribe copies patterns of the sky onto wet clay. The reeds move slowly across the surface, leaving gentle impressions that will dry into permanence. Each mark is deliberate, a soft message from mortal hands to the eternal heavens. The scribe pauses, touching the clay lightly, feeling the quiet energy of stars mirrored in the small, yielding earth beneath fingertips. Outside, the night deepens. A soft breeze carries the scent of wet earth, incense, and distant flowers. Lanterns in the city glow faintly, mingling with starlight reflected in the river and in pools of temple water. The rhythm of life is slow, measured, gentle, as though the world itself has exhaled and rests in quiet attentiveness to the guidance of the heavens. Priests walk slowly, their footsteps light, moving among altars and sacred basins. They pause frequently, listening to the soft murmurs of wind, the distant drumming of ritual, and the faint hum of water flowing over stone. Every gesture is deliberate, careful, a meditation of motion, connecting earth to sky, devotion to practice, and heart to divine presence. The children now lie on blankets, gazing upward. Their eyes reflect tiny points of light as they drift slowly into calm awareness. Elders watch softly, their hands resting on stone, their breath even and slow. The celestial orders guide without demand, their light touching the human heart gently, fostering patience, understanding, and quiet harmony. Lanterns flicker and candles glow in soft reflection of the night sky. Pools of water mirror the constellations, and stars seem doubled in quiet reverence. Even minor rivalries among the faithful are softened by the patience instilled by the heavens. There is no haste, no conflict that cannot be soothed by gentle observation, and no guidance that cannot be received with calm attention. You float above the city, over terraces and courtyards, temples and rivers, feeling the subtle pulse of devotion intertwined with the celestial rhythm. The planets trace slow arcs across the sky, their soft gleam guiding those who follow without command. The faithful rest, their hearts open, their minds drifting toward calm, and the soft influence of the heavens flows quietly through all. Now, as the night deepens, the lanterns dim slightly, and the stars take full presence in the sky. The rivers reflect them gently, the temples glow faintly, and the world settles into quiet order. Every gesture, every prayer, every careful observation of light and pattern contributes to a tapestry of calm that stretches across earth and sky. Let us drift onward through soft shadows, over quiet waters and under starlit heavens. The celestial orders guide with gentle hands, weaving harmony into the city, the river, and the hearts of all who watch. Now rest as the stars return, as the planets glide silently above, and as the night enfolds the faithful in its tender, serene embrace. Twilight falls gently across the plains, and the river glimmers like molten silver beneath the fading light. You float slowly above the waters, feeling the cool whisper of evening air against your skin, soft and soothing. The banks are lined with reeds that sway lightly, their tips brushing one another in a quiet, natural rhythm. The river moves steadily, carrying with it the gifts of the people, humble tokens pressed with care into boats and baskets. Small boats drift lazily along the current, laden with flowers, grains, and bowls of water. The offerings are not grand, yet they hold the weight of devotion, each one a quiet prayer, a gentle wish whispered toward the heavens. Children watch from the banks, their small fingers tracing ripples in the water, learning the rhythm of giving without expectation, of honoring the sacred with tender attention. On the river's edge, priests kneel in shallow water, letting it lap softly over their feet. They pour water from one vessel to another, creating small circles that reflect the dying light of the sun. Each ripple mirrors devotion, extending outward to touch unseen corners of the world. The gentle sound of water moving over stone and reeds mixes with faint chants, carried by the soft wind along the riverbank. Communities gather quietly along the shores. They place gifts in the current with careful hands, whispering prayers and gratitude. The river becomes a moving altar, a living conduit between earth and sky, mortal hearts and divine presence. You drift above them, sensing the tender care in every gesture, the soft harmony that flows even among small rivalries, as families and neighbors navigate devotion and survival in gentle balance. The boats, though modest, glide slowly, guided by gentle oars or the river's natural flow. Each offering is carried with intention, a conversation between human heart and the vast unknown of waters, sky, and divine watchfulness. Some ripples merge, carrying petals and grains together downstream, forming soft patterns on the surface, reflecting the unseen interconnectedness of lives and prayers. Priests in small temples beside the river watch the offerings, their eyes calm and patient. They record blessings on clay tablets, their hands moving slowly and deliberately. Each stroke is quiet and purposeful, a bridge between the ephemeral waterborne gifts and the permanence of memory. The river becomes a teacher, showing how devotion flows with the gentle motion of time, touching hearts softly as it moves onward. Occasionally, minor disagreements arise along the banks, gentle competitions over placement of offerings or timing of rituals. Yet even these are conducted with soft voices, measured steps, and careful gestures. The presence of water seems to temper all human hearts, reminding them that patience and humility carry more weight than force or haste. The river teaches without words, its quiet current flowing steadily through each act of reverence. In the fading light, lanterns are lit along the banks, their soft flames reflected in the water. The reflections shimmer like stars fallen into the river, echoing the glow of the sky above. You drift among these gentle lights, feeling the calm spread across the city, the temple, and the river. Even the smallest ripple carries significance, each one a soft echo of human devotion and careful attention. Fishermen pull in nets with slow, deliberate movements, pausing often to release small fish back into the water. Their hands touch the river with reverence, mindful of life and balance. Every motion is soft, considerate, like the gentle folding of fabric or the measured stroke of a reed stylus on clay. The river is a teacher, the water a mirror reflecting the care that humans can offer in return for sustenance and guidance. Children place flowers and tiny baskets of grain into the current. They watch them drift with awe, whispering soft wishes, giggling quietly as petals float apart and join the gentle motion of the river. The elders watch too, smiling softly, understanding that devotion begins in small acts, practiced with care and observation. The river carries all these intentions, blending them together in a slow, endless journey toward larger waters. The priests chant softly, their voices rising and falling with the rhythm of the current. You sense the prayers merging with the gentle wind, the light of lanterns, and the reflection of stars above. The river becomes a conduit for peace and guidance, showing that faith flows best when tender, slow, and mindful, touching all who encounter it in quiet, enduring ways. Along the banks, reeds whisper against one another in the soft breeze. Boats drift with occasional pauses, influenced by hidden currents, just as human hearts bend gently under divine guidance. The small competitions along the shores fade into harmony as evening deepens, showing that even the gentlest rivalries can be softened by patient attention and shared reverence. The city lights begin to twinkle softly as darkness settles. Reflections in the river multiply, stars mirrored and lanterns flickering like a delicate constellation of human care and divine acknowledgement. Each offering continues its quiet voyage, petals drifting, grains bobbing gently, water shimmering over bowls and vessels. Even the tiniest gesture is carried onward, imbued with meaning and soft intention. You float higher above, sensing the rhythm of devotion along the banks, in temples, and among homes. The river carries more than water. It carries patience, hope, and gentle lessons in compassion. Every ripple seems to murmur a story of connection, reminding the hearts of all who watch that offerings, whether simple or grand, are gestures of love and care, reaching quietly toward divine presence. Night deepens and the water glows softly in moonlight. The gentle hum of insects, the soft rustle of reeds, and the faint ripple of currents blend into a calm symphony. Children have grown drowsy, leaning against parents or folding into blankets, their whispers slowing into soft breaths. The priests have paused, hands folded, hearts quiet, letting the rhythm of the river speak for itself. Even the minor conflicts fade, softened by the endless flow of water. What was once gentle rivalry transforms into understanding, as if the river absorbs tensions and returns calm in its wake. The motion of each offering reminds all who watch that time and devotion move together, slowly, quietly, and with enduring care. From high above, the river seems endless, a soft silver ribbon connecting city, temple, and countryside. Each ripple carries intention, prayer, and remembrance, a flowing testament to the gentle balance between human hearts and the divine. Boats drift, lanterns glow, and the soft night embraces all who dwell along the shores. The stars above seem to lean closer to the water, touching each ripple with quiet light. Reflections double their presence, as if reminding watchers that both heaven and earth share in the devotion of those who place offerings into the current. Soft wind carries murmurs of prayers into the distant night, blending them with the hum of insects, the ripple of water, and the gentle motion of leaves. You drift past the last boats, past reeds and lantern-lit paths, past temple steps that lead into calm courtyards. The river continues, undisturbed, carrying the acts of devotion onward. Its soft currents are eternal teachers, reminding all who gaze upon them that patience, humility, and care move more gently through the world than haste or force ever could. Let us drift onward, past lantern-lit banks, through moonlit ripples, and over the quiet temples that watch the river's journey. Each offering continues softly, Each prayer echoes in calm, and each ripple reminds us of the gentle, enduring presence of devotion in every heart. Now rest, as the stars return, as the river flows ever onward, and as the night enfolds the city in its faithful and tender, serene embrace. Twilight drapes the city in gentle shades of lavender and gold. You drift quietly above temple courtyards, where the last light of day glimmers across stone walls, polished basins, and soft pools of sacred water. A cool breeze carries the subtle fragrance of incense and flowers, brushing the leaves of trees and the rooftops of the city below. The air hums with stillness, a serene pause as the world prepares for night. Within the temples, women move with soft, deliberate steps. Priestesses, their robes flowing like gentle waves, glide across stone floors, hands resting lightly upon the edges of basins and altars. Their presence is quiet but steady, a soft anchor in the rhythm of worship. They carry bowls of water, petals, and grains, offerings not for themselves, but for the divine and for those who seek guidance. Each gesture is measured, thoughtful, a meditation in motion. You float among them, noticing the calm that surrounds their work. In one chamber, a priestess kneels before a shallow pool, tracing the water's surface with fingertips. Ripples move outward, catching the fading light, reflecting stars and lanterns alike. She murmurs prayers softly, almost inaudible, yet the gentle rhythm seems to echo through the temple, touching all who dwell there. You feel the peace she carries, a quiet force that shapes hearts more than words ever could. At another altar, soft candlelight illuminates delicate carvings of goddesses and stars. A young priestess places small tokens in the flame, a grain, a flower petal, a drop of water, watching as they catch the light and dissolve into warmth. The act is simple, yet the intention is immense. Each offering carries hope, gratitude, and care, extending from her hands into the sacred space, mingling with whispers of devotion and the unseen presence of divine attention. Communities approach the temples, guided by the soft call of ritual and the gentle authority of these women. They bring questions, small worries, or wishes carried silently in the heart. The priestesses listen without interruption, their eyes calm pools that reflect understanding rather than judgment. Advice is offered softly, often without words, through the tilt of a head, the placement of a hand, the careful guidance of an offering into the river of devotion. Outside, lanterns glow along the temple paths, their reflections dancing in pools and basins. The soft night wind carries scents of burning incense, fresh flowers, and the coolness of stone. Birds settle in the eaves, their calls fading into the gentle hum of evening. The priestess's presence blends with this serene rhythm, their motions a quiet dance that balances devotion with stillness, guiding both the faithful and the temple itself. You drift toward a terrace where a council of priestesses gathers in soft conversation. Their voices rise and fall like wind through reeds, never sharp, never insistent. They share interpretations of dreams, readings of stars, and gentle guidance for resolving tensions in the community. Even delicate disagreements are tempered by care, patience, and a shared understanding that the purpose of counsel is not dominance, but harmony. On the riverbank, a priestess helps children place offerings into the gentle current. She bends slowly, hands hovering over baskets of grain and petals, showing them the soft rhythm of devotion. Each ripple carries the gift onward, the children's laughter mingling with the gentle murmur of water. Even minor rivalries, who places an offering first, or whose petals float furthest, are soothed by her presence. The river flows steadily, teaching patience, just as she does with quiet gestures and measured smiles. Inside the inner sanctum, the soft glow of candlelight flickers across clay tablets and carved stones. Priestesses trace inscriptions with tender fingers, reading prayers and visions that have traveled across generations. The words on clay are worn and gentle, yet the meaning is clear: devotion, guidance, and the quiet power of presence. Even small conflicts noted in these texts are remembered without harshness, recorded as lessons rather than grievances, a reflection of the gentle balance these women maintain. You notice the subtle patterns in their movements, hands brushing over altars, fingers tracing water, eyes lifting toward the stars. Each gesture connects earth and sky, mortal and divine, action and intention. The soft rhythm of their work encourages stillness in all who watch, creating a space where hearts can settle and minds can drift toward calm awareness. In a quiet courtyard, a priestess kneels among flower petals scattered across stone. She arranges them slowly, watching how the wind moves them into new patterns. Each repositioned petal is an act of care, a meditation that blends observation with devotion. The faithful who pass by slow their steps, their eyes catching the beauty of movement and reflection. Even the simplest act of arranging flowers becomes a silent lesson in patience, attention, and reverence. Soft music drifts through the halls, the gentle plucking of a lyre, the low hum of a drum, the quiet call of a flute. Priestesses move in harmony with these sounds, their breaths matching the rhythm of instruments and water. The combination of music, motion, and intention creates a cocoon of calm, a gentle lull that wraps around both visitors and the temple itself. You feel the serene presence of devotion flowing through the space, softening tensions, nurturing hearts, and inspiring quiet reflection. Some priestesses offer visions and guidance for the leaders of the city. They do so in hushed tones, seated across polished tables, the light of candles reflecting softly in their eyes. Their words are chosen slowly, each phrase measured to carry understanding rather than command. Leaders lean forward, listening, guided not by authority alone, but by the calm, steady insight offered with care and patience. The influence of these women shapes decisions quietly, like a river bending the path of gentle currents over time. You float above the temple steps where the faithful have gathered for evening offerings. Children carry small baskets, elders bring bowls of water, and all move in soft synchrony with the rhythm of ritual. Priestesses guide them with gentle nods, the tilt of hands, and subtle shifts in attention. Even in moments when small disputes arise over placement or timing, the soft presence of these women smooths the edges, returning all to quiet harmony. Lanterns cast a golden glow across pools of sacred water. The reflections double the beauty of flickering flames, creating a quiet universe within the temple courtyard. The priestesses' movements are mirrored in these waters, bending, reaching, pausing, touching the surface gently. Each ripple carries intention. Each gesture becomes a soft echo of devotion, a quiet lesson in presence, patience, and care. The city outside grows dimmer as night deepens. Windows glow faintly, the hum of evening settling over homes and streets. Even the distant murmur of the river feels muted, blending seamlessly with the soft footsteps of priestesses moving through their sacred spaces. The world seems to exhale, folding into calm, guided by the quiet counsel of these women and the devotion of all who follow their gentle lead. Children now drift into sleep, leaning against parents or resting on blankets along temple terraces. Their breathing slows, their hearts calmed by the rhythm of water, the soft glow of lanterns, and the measured movements of priestesses nearby. Adults pause as well, closing eyes in quiet reflection, feeling the gentle assurance that comes from faith observed with care and guidance offered without force. In the final chambers, candles burn low, casting soft shadows across carved walls. Priestesses move with slow, deliberate gestures, collecting petals, arranging basins, and whispering prayers into the quiet night. Their presence lingers, even as footsteps fade and doors close, leaving only soft echoes that ripple through the stone and air. These echoes carry the gentle power of intention, the quiet authority of care, and the enduring influence of devotion practiced with patience and love. You drift slowly upward, leaving the temples behind, feeling the serene pulse of devotion that flows from hands, hearts, and water alike. The night sky above mirrors the quiet power below, stars glowing gently over courtyards, pools, and rooftops. The priestess's influence continues, soft and invisible, shaping hearts, smoothing tensions, and guiding communities toward gentle harmony. Let us drift onward past flickering lanterns, through pools of reflective water, and under the quiet gaze of starlit heavens. Their silent counsel flows like water, steady and calm, carrying lessons of patience, care, and devotion. Now rest as the stars return, as the temple sleeps, and as the gentle presence of priestesses lingers in soft, serene embrace. Twilight settles gently over the temple city, and the first stars shimmer softly in the sky. You float above quiet stone courtyards, where the sun's last light spills across worn steps and cool, polished walls. The air is filled with the gentle curl of incense smoke, twisting like slow, pale ribbons toward the heavens. Each tendril carries a promise, a prayer, a quiet devotion, mingling with the soft evening breeze. Inside the temple halls, soft footsteps echo across the stone floors. Priestesses move deliberately, carrying bowls of fragrant herbs, carefully sprinkling incense over altars and small fires. The scent is calming, sweet and musky, weaving through the corridors and chambers like an invisible river. You feel the aroma settle over you, a gentle cloak of peace that softens the edges of thought and eases tension from the heart. Among the columns, shadows stretch long in the lantern light. The scent of incense mingles with the faint warmth of burning oil, creating a subtle cocoon of calm. You drift through the halls, noticing that even as devotion fills the space, quiet tensions sometimes arise. Disagreements over offerings, timing of rituals, or interpretations of dreams occasionally whisper across the temple. Yet, the fragrance of incense seems to carry a soft balm, tempering voices and calming hearts with its gentle embrace. On one altar, a priestess kneels, her hands moving slowly as she lights a new stick of incense. The smoke spirals upward, twisting in delicate patterns that reflect the flickering candlelight. She breathes softly, eyes closed, letting the rhythm of her actions harmonize with the gentle hum of the temple. Around her, others pause in their tasks, inhaling the sweet smoke, feeling the calm it brings, as if the air itself carries a quiet lesson in patience and grace. You drift past chambers where offerings rest. Bowls of water, petals, small clay figurines, each carefully placed with reverence. Even amid minor disagreements, who should place the offering first, which incense should be lit, the overall atmosphere remains soft and nurturing. The gentle scent reminds all who enter that devotion is not a matter of dominance, but of connection, care, and the tender shaping of hearts. In the inner sanctum, a small cluster of priests and priestesses discuss the timing of evening prayers. Their voices rise and fall gently, careful not to startle or impose. Even subtle differences of opinion are tempered by the incense curling around their faces, the faint crackle of lamps, and the serene presence of stone carvings watching silently from the walls. You notice that even conflict, when softened by devotion and ritual, can become a quiet teacher, guiding attention toward understanding rather than strife. Outside in the temple courtyards, lanterns glow softly, their reflections rippling in shallow pools. The smoke from nearby fires drifts across the water, blurring the line between flame and reflection. You float above the scene, sensing the rhythm of ritual and the soft sway of human hearts learning to navigate small rivalries and misunderstandings. Even the tiniest dispute fades into calm as the scent of incense soothes and steadies. Children and young novices wander among the courtyards, observing quietly. Some carry small trays of petals or grains to place on altars. They pause, inhaling the fragrant smoke, learning through presence the delicate balance of reverence and subtle tension. Every gesture around them is measured, every breath synchronized with the gentle rhythm of devotion that fills the air. Even minor rivalries, who places an offering first, whose incense curls higher, dissolve in the serene embrace of ritual and fragrance. In one chamber, a priestess quietly reads a clay tablet, its edges worn smooth. Soft curls of incense smoke drift across the surface, mingling with the careful strokes of her finger tracing sacred words. The inscriptions speak of devotion, of prayers sent across generations, and of small conflicts remembered not with anger, but with understanding. You feel the calm that comes from remembering, from honoring the past without carrying its weight too heavily into the present. The scent of sandalwood and myrrh lingers in the halls, wrapping around every step, every whispered conversation, every soft glance exchanged. Even disagreements among elders, who interprets the visions, who guides the young, are softened by the pervasive calm. You sense the way incense transforms tension into reflection, providing space for hearts to pause, consider, and breathe. Soft chanting begins in the main hall, voices low and even, rising and falling like gentle waves. The smoke curls above the worshippers, carrying prayers to unseen heights. The scent mingles with the sound, forming a subtle cocoon that cradles the city's faithful. Even small disputes vanish in the presence of this rhythm, leaving room only for attentive listening and quiet devotion. On the temple terraces, lanterns sway in the night breeze. You drift above, observing the gentle interplay of light and shadow. The smoke drifts along corridors and open courtyards, enveloping everyone in its soft embrace. The atmosphere holds both reverence and calm vigilance, a reminder that devotion can exist even amid the subtle presence of human imperfection and disagreement. In a quiet corner, a young priestess arranges offerings with careful hands, adjusting petals and small bowls of water. Her movements are deliberate and soft, teaching through example the balance between intention and patience. Even as minor conflicts over placement arise among novices, her presence, calm, unhurried, and steady, soothes both heart and mind. The incense that rises from a nearby altar flows between them, a gentle mediator carrying serenity into every tense moment. The night deepens, and the temple becomes a tapestry of flickering light and curling smoke. Every chamber, every courtyard, every quiet corridor holds the gentle weight of devotion. Even the softest disagreements, the quiet questioning of which prayer to recite, the slight differences in ritual timing, are tempered by the pervasive presence of incense, reminding all who dwell there that patience, care, and understanding hold more power than haste or force. You drift past stone basins where petals float on still water. The reflections of lanterns shimmer softly, dancing with the curling smoke. Priestesses kneel beside the basins, breathing slowly, their hands brushing over the water's surface. Each ripple carries intention and presence, each gesture a quiet bridge between the mortal heart and the unseen. Even minor conflicts, the slight tension of who arranges petals where, are softened, absorbed into the rhythm of devotion that flows like a gentle current through the temple. In the upper chambers, stars peek through high windows, their light falling softly on carved walls and incense-filled halls. The gentle scent blends with the silver of moonlight, wrapping the faithful in a cocoon of calm. Discussions that could have grown tense remain quiet, even reflective, as the presence of sacred fragrance encourages hearts to slow, consider, and breathe. You feel the serenity that comes from rituals practiced with care, even in the shadow of minor disputes. Children now lean against the walls, their small bodies curling into blankets or mats, soothed by the combined rhythm of incense, prayer, and the soft movement of others. Adults pause in reflection, their breathing slowing, hearts softened by the subtle presence of fragrance that fills every hall. Even the faintest ripple of conflict is absorbed, carried gently away like petals floating down a quiet stream. The high priestess moves slowly through the halls, her robe brushing softly against polished stone. She carries incense in a small censer, its smoke trailing gracefully behind her. Her steps are careful, deliberate, and calm, touching everyone she passes with presence rather than command. Minor tensions melt in her quiet awareness, replaced by the soft acknowledgement that devotion and patience can coexist, even amid the occasional friction of human hearts. You drift higher, observing the temple in its entirety, lantern-lit courtyards, curling smoke, reflective pools, and quiet chambers. The scent of incense continues to swirl, connecting each space, each movement, each soft word spoken in reverence. Even where small disagreements linger, the pervasive calm of ritual and fragrance encourages resolution through patience and care. The temple breathes in unison, a living space shaped by devotion, understanding, and gentle presence. Let us drift onward past curling smoke, through lantern-lit courtyards and over the quiet pools of water. The scent of incense carries prayers, softens hearts, and mends small rifts. Let it teach patience, care, and reverence, weaving calm through every chamber and every heart. Now rest as the stars return, as the incense curls into night, and as the temple, gentle and serene, enfolds all who dwell within its sacred walls. Twilight drifts over the plains where ancient cities rise. You float above quiet rivers and stretching fields, where the last light of day touches stone walls and thatched rooftops. Even as shadows lengthen, a soft hush fills the air, carrying both the memory of human struggle and the gentle rhythm of life persisting beneath it. The wind whispers through distant trees, as if speaking of both sorrow and hope, and the first stars shimmer quietly above. In the heart of the city, the streets are calm, though their stones remember the footsteps of many. Armies have once marched along these paths, banners rising in the sunlight, boots pressing earth with purpose. Yet now, all is softened by evening, by the faint scent of incense drifting from small temples and altars tucked between buildings. The fragrance flows like a gentle river, reminding all who pass that even amid past conflict, devotion endures. Within a temple, soft candlelight flickers across carved walls. Priestesses kneel, their hands moving slowly as they offer prayers. Each whispered word drifts through the hall, mingling with the scent of burning herbs. You sense that even when war has touched this city, the human spirit seeks refuge in these moments of ritual. Peace may seem fragile, yet it persists in the small acts of devotion, in the gentle folding of hands, and in the steadying breath of each worshiper. Outside, along the riverbanks, water glimmers under the moonlight. The currents carry reflections of lanterns and stars, shimmering softly like memory itself. Soldiers long gone once paused here, perhaps to drink, perhaps to rest, their thoughts heavy with duty. Now the river carries only quiet ripples, whispering tales of resilience and continuity. Each gentle wave seems to say that life, like water, finds a way to flow around obstacles, even those as weighty as conflict. In the palace halls, soft footsteps echo. Kings and advisors once deliberated over strategy, weighing choices that could shape the lives of thousands. Now, the echoes of those decisions drift faintly through the stone corridors. The air feels thick with remembrance, yet it is tempered by candlelight and the muted scent of oils, carrying a serene calm. Even the memory of tension, when softened by ritual and reflection, becomes a gentle teacher, reminding hearts of balance, patience, and care. On the outskirts of the city, quiet villages endure. Smoke curls from small hearths, blending with the evening breeze. The hum of daily life continues, tender and persistent. Farmers pause to offer small prayers to the gods for protection and sustenance. Children play in the dimming light, unaware of the echoes of past conflicts, yet held within the city's stories. Their laughter mingles with the rustle of leaves, creating a soft harmony that contrasts with memories of discord. In the temple courtyards, incense smoke rises from carefully arranged altars. Its gentle spiral curls upward, twisting toward the sky, carrying with it the prayers of those who remember both loss and hope. You drift between stone pillars, feeling the quiet resonance of devotion. Even when voices once raised in anger echo faintly in memory, the ritual softens them, turning fear into reverence, tension into reflection, and remembrance into a soothing hum that settles the heart. A small group gathers around a central fountain, its water reflecting the silver glow of the moon. They are priests, soldiers, and villagers alike, offering quiet gestures of gratitude and prayer. Each motion is slow and deliberate, a grain of rice placed upon a bowl, a drop of water lifted from the fountain, a whispered hope sent toward the heavens. Even in the memory of war, these acts carry an enduring calm, a reminder that devotion can persist through the soft echoes of past struggles. In one quiet chamber, a priestess kneels before a small altar, candlelight dancing across her features. She traces her fingers gently along the carved stones, each line a story of past victories and losses. The soft scent of frankincense wraps around her, holding her in a calm cocoon. Outside the chamber, the distant hum of crickets fills the night, mingling with the faint ripple of water from the nearby fountain. In this peaceful rhythm, even the weight of conflict feels lighter, softened by presence, patience, and devotion. The city's gates, once braced for battle, now stand silent beneath the stars. Their stone surfaces remember countless marches and the passing of countless souls. Yet the air feels gentle, almost tender, as if the walls themselves have absorbed a lesson in endurance. You drift along the ramparts, noticing how even the memory of strife cannot erase the quiet persistence of daily life. The soft cooing of doves, the rustle of leaves, the distant chant of evening prayers. On the temple terraces, soft lanterns sway in the night breeze. Their glow dances across carved reliefs, illuminating scenes of gods and mortals alike. Even when conflicts flared among cities, priestesses and priests offered prayers that soothed anxious hearts and encouraged reflection. The fragrance of incense mingles with the soft wind, carrying the essence of devotion across the quiet city. You feel the calm that emerges when remembrance of conflict is met with ritual, patience, and reverence. In the markets, now empty under the moon, faint echoes of barter and conversation linger. Once, merchants and soldiers might have exchanged words tensely, the shadow of conflict lingering over every trade. Now, the stones of the marketplace hold only whispers, softened by the passing of time and the gentle night air. The scent of spices from distant lands mingles with the faint, curling smoke from temple altars, creating a quiet balance between memory and presence. In the inner halls of the palace, soft drapery sways in the gentle breeze. The walls, once witnessed to heated council and strategic planning, now seem to exhale a calm breath. Candlelight flickers over the faces of quiet observers, scribes, advisors, and the occasional young novice, learning that even decisions once heavy with consequence can be softened with care, reflection, and ritual. Each breath, each gesture, becomes a meditation in resilience and calm. You drift to the city's outskirts, where rolling fields meet the horizon. Soldiers long gone once rested here, their campfires a faint shimmer in memory. Now, grasses sway under the moonlight, whispering softly in the night wind. Villagers who tended these fields in earlier times may have paused to honor the gods before battle, leaving traces of prayer in their gentle routines. Even in conflict, life finds ways to hold moments of peace, glimmering softly like fireflies in twilight. Along the river that nourishes the city, the water moves quietly, reflecting stars above and lanterns from nearby temples. Small boats drift, carrying offerings of flowers, herbs, and grain. You sense that even amid tension, humans sought connection between each other and with the divine. Every ripple of the river carries stories of reconciliation, of hope, and of devotion that endures beyond the soft echoes of war. In the temples, candle flames flicker gently, casting long shadows across carved walls. The incense spirals upward, curling like memory itself, softening the edges of sorrow and conflict. You drift through the halls, past altars heavy with offerings, past the quiet prayers of worshippers, and sense the persistent thread of calm that flows through time. Even when hearts have been tested by fear or disagreement, ritual and devotion can anchor the spirit in serenity. Outside, the night deepens. Lanterns glow softly across courtyards, rivers ripple quietly, and the gentle hum of crickets blends with the soft wind through the trees. Even the faint echoes of past battles seem distant, like clouds drifting slowly across the moon. You float above, noticing how the city, though marked by conflict, is bathed in calm. Every breath, every step, every curling tendril of incense contributes to a gentle healing of memory. Let us drift onward, past lanternlit courtyards, across reflective rivers, and over soft fields that remember both strife and reconciliation. Feel the calm that persists in quiet prayers, in the gentle rhythm of ritual, and in the tender hope that even amid human conflict, the heart seeks peace. Now rest as the stars return, as incense curls into the night, and as the city, serene and enduring, cradles all who dwell within its memory. Twilight rests softly upon the ancient city, bathing stone walls in muted gold. You drift above quiet streets, where shadows stretch lazily across worn pathways. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of clay and dust, mingled with the lingering aroma of incense from nearby temples. There is a gentle hush here, a stillness that invites the mind to slow, as if each breath itself is a soft meditation. In the central square, monumental steels rise quietly, etched with the careful marks of hands long gone. Each symbol, each carved line tells a story of justice, of guidance, of lessons meant to endure across time. You float closer, your attention drawn to the smooth stone surfaces where divine messages and human words mingle. The carvings are like whispers, soft and deliberate, sharing wisdom without urgency, inviting reflection rather than action. The sun dips lower, turning the sky to a gentle amber, and shadows lengthen across the inscriptions. You notice how each figure, each line of cuneiform, speaks of patience, of measured decisions, of calm deliberation in moments of uncertainty. Even when disputes arose between neighbors, kings, or priesthoods, these stones offer a reminder that careful thought and fairness can soothe troubled hearts. The city itself seems to hold its breath, honoring the quiet weight of these enduring lessons. Beyond the square, small temples peek from behind walls. Their doors are open, revealing candles that flicker in gentle rhythm. You drift past, hearing the soft murmur of prayers. Visitors kneel with bowed heads, placing tiny offerings beside carved symbols of gods and mortals alike. Even amid human imperfection and past disagreements, devotion persists. Each gesture seems to echo the carved wisdom, a tender dialogue between stone and soul. Along the river, water glints in the fading light, carrying reflections of the steels and temple roofs. The currents murmur softly as they pass, wrapping the city in a serene lullaby. Fishermen and villagers, past and present, pause in these quiet waters, offering thoughts and gratitude to gods and ancestors. The soft ripples mirror the gentle words carved into stone, showing how wisdom flows from one generation to the next, like water moving steadily through time. In the shadowed corridors of the palace, advisors once debated with careful voices. Their words, though spoken long ago, are reflected in stone tablets that record the decisions of kings and magistrates. The carvings do not demand attention. Instead, they invite contemplation. Each line, each mark, is a gentle hand guiding understanding, reminding those who read to consider balance, fairness, and the weight of responsibility with calm and measured thought. In the market squares, the soft clatter of pottery and the hum of distant conversation mingle with the memory of past disputes, softened by the evening air. Traders and villagers long ago may have argued over goods and land, but the stones that mark these events offer a steadying presence. You sense that even conflict, when preserved in wisdom, can become a source of reflection and gentle learning. The city breathes this lesson, a calm rhythm beneath the faint echo of history. Temples rise nearby, their carved facades catching the last light of the day. Each relief and inscription carries the weight of ritual and devotion. You drift closer, noticing the quiet interplay of symbols, scales of justice, offerings of grain, the careful tracing of divine names. Here, wisdom is not a loud proclamation but a soft companion, guiding actions, calming tensions, and reminding all who enter that thoughtfulness can carry even the heaviest burdens with ease. In one courtyard, a priestess kneels beside a low altar, tracing the carvings with delicate fingers. The touch of stone is cool, grounding, a reminder that the past endures in quiet strength. She breathes slowly, aligning her heart with the soft rhythm of prayer, her eyes following the carved words that speak of fairness, patience, and gentle governance. Outside, the evening breeze stirs leaves and lifts the smoke from small offerings, carrying a subtle song of devotion across the quiet city. You drift above, noticing how the inscriptions themselves interact with light. Shadows fall across recessed lines, while raised edges glow faintly in the last rays of sunlight. The effect is almost meditative, a play of shadow and illumination that mirrors the balance sought in human decisions. Even disputes once recorded in anger or fear now seem softened, transformed into lessons in humility, reflection, and enduring care. The river bends gently, and along its banks, offerings float on the water's surface, flowers, small vessels, and grains. The soft lapping of water against the stones is like a lullaby, blending with the faint, deliberate echoes of inscriptions. Even as past conflicts are remembered in stone, The present is carried forward in gentle devotion, each ripple a reminder of resilience, care, and the subtle guidance that can soothe hearts across generations. At the edge of the city, the quiet walls of fortifications rise, their stones etched with markers of law and decree. Here, the weight of decisions is tangible, yet softened by the calm night. You sense that even when rulers acted with firmness, wisdom carved in stone offered a steadying influence. Inscriptions hold no anger, no haste. They simply stand, quietly reflecting lessons meant to endure. Their presence reminds all who gaze upon them that thoughtful guidance can calm the turbulence of human desire. Inside a small shrine, incense curls upward, curling like a gentle wind around each carved word. Candles flicker and shadows sway, as if the light itself respects the stillness of the messages. You drift past, noticing how even the smallest inscriptions carry meaning. Reminders to care for neighbors, to temper judgment with compassion, to let patience guide the heart. Each soft line becomes a meditation, a lullaby of understanding for the weary mind. As darkness deepens, lanterns glow softly along the streets. Their light reflects on the smooth surfaces of carved stones, creating pools of warmth in the quiet night. Children play quietly in the squares, unaware of the weight of the past yet gently touched by its lessons. Even as the city sleeps, wisdom persists in every etched mark, a soft presence that encourages calm reflection, patience, and the subtle weaving of understanding into daily life. Beyond the walls, fields sway in the evening breeze, whispering the names of gods and mortals alike. Farmers long ago paused to honor the wisdom recorded in stone before planting or harvesting. Their gentle care is reflected in each line carved by hand, each steel set carefully in place. The land itself seems to remember, carrying both the soft echoes of human striving and the steady guidance of enduring insight. In the palace halls, quiet scribes record offerings and decisions, their pens moving slowly across clay tablets. The rhythm is meditative, a gentle echo of those ancient carvings you have passed. Even when decisions carried weight, the act of recording them with care transformed them into something soft and enduring. The process itself becomes a meditation, a way to acknowledge human frailty while offering a thread of calm wisdom for all who follow. At the temple's highest terrace, the wind carries whispers of the past. The faint trace of incense, the soft glow of lanterns, and the intricate carvings converge in a gentle harmony. You float above the city, sensing that every inscription, every stone, every careful mark was meant to soothe and guide. Even in memory of disputes, the soft presence of wisdom endures, offering quiet lessons in balance, patience, and the enduring power of reflection. The night deepens, and stars shine faintly overhead. Shadows lengthen across the city, but the carvings on stone remain clear, offering their soft guidance to any who linger in their presence. Even as human hearts once wavered between conflict and peace, the lessons etched in clay and stone persist. A steadying rhythm for minds that seek calm and gentle understanding. Let us drift onward, past lantern-lit courtyards and glimmering rivers, across fields touched by the evening breeze, and over steles that whisper of patience, justice, and reverence. Feel the soft hum of wisdom carried through time, wrapping the city in gentle calm. Now rest as the stars return, as incense curls into the quiet night, and as the enduring voice of stone soothes all who pause to listen. Twilight drifts softly over the ancient lands, and the sky leans gently into a deepening blue. You float quietly above quiet villages, their roofs glimmering faintly beneath the first stars of evening. The wind is soft, brushing over fields and rivers, carrying whispers of incense, grain, and distant waters. Somewhere, a small bell rings in rhythm with the shifting light, and the hush of night settles like a gentle cloak. Here, the world feels at peace, and yet, just beyond the veil of sight, unseen presences begin to stir. In the temples, where shadows lengthen across stone floors, faint silhouettes glide along the corridors. These are the divine messengers, angels, spirits, and emissaries, whose movements are quiet, deliberate, and unhurried. Their forms are soft, flickering like candlelight, barely more than gentle glimmers. They do not call attention to themselves. Instead, they move with the tender care of one who understands the fragility of human hearts, bringing comfort, guidance, and the faint touch of reassurance. Along the riverbanks, water murmurs over stones, reflecting the first silver gleams of moonlight. A messenger drifts just above the surface, trailing a whisper of light that dances across the gentle ripples. Fishermen pause mid-breath, sensing something unseen, a soft presence that encourages patience, reflection, and the quiet tending of the day's tasks. Even the water seems to hold its motion, bending softly around the invisible visitor, carrying a faint message of calm into every curve and eddy. Above the city squares, lanterns flicker as evening descends. A messenger passes through the streets, invisible to most, yet gently influencing the thoughts of those who pause in prayer or contemplation. A merchant straightens his back, taking a moment to consider fairness in trade. A child smiles without knowing why, comforted by a presence that bends time softly around them. Each small act is touched by these quiet journeys, and the world bends toward gentle harmony without noise, without demand. In the sacred halls, incense curls slowly into the air, mingling with the faint glimmer of starlight that filters through open windows. Here, the divine messengers linger near offerings, brushing softly against the hearts of those who pray. They carry solace for grief, clarity for doubt, and a delicate balance for human conflict. No sound is needed. Their guidance is subtle, like the soft turning of a page or the faint movement of wind across a still pond. Some messengers hover near kings and rulers, unseen but present. They move with the rhythm of decisions, offering calm counsel in moments of tension. A scroll is read more carefully, a decree softened by reflection, a hand lifted not in anger but in measured consideration. Even in times of potential discord, their presence is gentle, like a river smoothing stones along its bed. The city breathes easier for these quiet journeys, as if wisdom itself flows unseen through its streets. In one quiet courtyard, a woman kneels in prayer. Her voice is low, barely more than a whisper. A messenger stands beside her, its form almost imperceptible, radiating warmth and calm. The woman senses a soft clarity, an understanding that her intentions are seen and her worries acknowledged. She lays a small offering on the altar, a simple bowl of grain, and the presence lingers not to take, but to honor the gesture, amplifying its peace into the quiet night. Fields stretch outward beyond the city walls, their stalks swaying in gentle harmony with the evening breeze. Here too, messengers drift unseen, guiding farmers to pause, to breathe, to tend the earth with care. Each step of sowing or reaping becomes a quiet ritual, illuminated by a presence that is more felt than seen. Even the wind seems to carry their soft messages, rustling leaves in a gentle cadence that speaks of patience, reverence, and the quiet rhythm of life. High above the temple terraces, the night sky deepens into a velvet canopy. Stars blink slowly, as if breathing with the world below. Messengers rise toward them, moving with lightness and grace. Some carry prayers upward, faint trails of glowing particles tracing their path. Others descend, bringing answers, insights, or gentle nudges to the faithful. Their journeys are neither hurried nor heavy, but deliberate, following the subtle currents that connect the human and divine. In the streets below, small moments of kindness ripple outward. A neighbor offers a cup of water to a weary traveler. A child returns a lost toy without hesitation. These soft acts seem ordinary, yet the presence of messengers makes them sacred, illuminating them with quiet significance. Even when conflicts arise, their influence encourages gentle reconciliation, a soft bridging of human hearts toward understanding and calm. Inside temple halls, flickering candlelight dances across murals depicting ancient myths. Angels and spirits seem to glide among the painted figures, as though stepping into the stories themselves. Each image, each tale, mirrors the quiet journeys of the messengers, interventions that are tender, compassionate, and softly transformative. The lessons carried across generations take form in these presences, reminding mortals that guidance is never distant, even when invisible. On the river, lanterns float in slow procession, their light mirrored in the gentle currents. A messenger drifts among them, brushing the surface with unseen fingers. Each ripple carries a whisper of hope, a soft acknowledgement of human devotion. The boats glide quietly, unaware of the subtle presence that watches over them, but their passengers feel the effect. Hearts lighter, minds calmer, and spirits eased by a force they cannot name. In palace halls, messengers pause near the quiet chambers of rulers. Decisions made here affect countless lives, yet the divine presence softens the weight, offering moments of clarity and discernment. Even minor adjustments, small moments of pause, shift the course of events with tender grace. The rulers may not notice the subtle guidance, yet the city itself benefits, the flow of life touched by an unseen hand that carries understanding, patience, and gentle foresight. Through quiet gardens, messengers wander, brushing past statues and fountains. Each flower seems to lean toward them, each stone seems to absorb their calm. Birds perch silently, as if acknowledging the visitors with soft understanding. These courtyards become sanctuaries, where the invisible and visible coexist in gentle harmony. Even the softest breeze seems to carry the essence of their journeys, caressing leaves, flowers, and the hearts of anyone who lingers. As night deepens, distant drums begin to echo softly, accompanying the faint songs of priests and worshippers. Messengers move alongside these rhythms, aligning with the natural pulse of devotion. They do not demand attention, yet their presence is felt in the slow exhale of breath, in the soft closing of eyes, and in the gentle calming of restless thoughts. In these quiet moments, the human spirit senses the tender care of forces beyond sight, an invisible embrace that reassures, soothes, and guides. In the quiet rooms of scholars and scribes, lamps burn softly. Messengers hover near manuscripts and tablets, illuminating words with a faint glow, encouraging accuracy, patience, and reverence. Even knowledge, when tenderly guided, becomes a form of devotion. Each line recorded, each character traced, carries not only information but also the calm, enduring presence of those who serve as divine emissaries, softening the burden of learning with gentle oversight. The city itself seems to breathe in harmony with the unseen travelers. Walls, roofs, and streets carry the subtle energy of these journeys, as if every stone and riverbank has absorbed the quiet care of their passing. Residents sense it in minor ways: a smoother conversation, a patient smile, a fleeting understanding. These are the echoes of invisible footsteps, soft and deliberate, weaving unity and calm into the fabric of everyday life. You drift higher now, over rooftops and temples, over lantern-lit squares and quiet gardens. Messengers continue their journeys, tracing invisible paths through the night, each movement purposeful, tender, and deliberate. Even when unseen, their presence touches hearts and minds, turning ordinary nights into quiet sanctuaries. Every prayer, every act of kindness, every silent reflection carries a subtle resonance of their guidance, whispering comfort across the sleeping world. Let us drift onward, following their faint trails across fields, rivers, and city streets, past temples and palaces under the silver glow of moonlight. Feel the gentle rhythm of their journeys, the tender balance they offer between the human and the divine. Their presence is neither loud nor demanding. It is soft, deliberate, and sustaining. Now rest as the stars return, as incense curls through the quiet night, and as divine messengers continue their gentle journeys, cradling the hearts of all who dream. Twilight spreads softly across distant hills, casting a gentle lavender glow over quiet villages and winding paths. The air holds a faint warmth, mingled with the fragrance of evening blossoms and the gentle smoke of distant hearth fires. You float lightly above the streets and temples, feeling the hush of the world as night begins to settle. Even in places where differences stir, the calm of twilight encourages pause, reflection, and a slow quieting of the heart. In a small courtyard, two groups of worshippers gather, each holding their own candles, each murmuring familiar prayers. Their voices rise and fall not in anger, but as careful harmonies that brush against one another like leaves floating on a slow river. Here, devotion takes many forms, and the quiet tension between them is softened by the weight of shared reverence. No harsh words are spoken, only subtle gestures, gentle glances, and the soft exchange of understanding ripple through the air. A messenger drifts overhead, barely visible, radiating a pale glow that falls like moonlight across the courtyard stones. Its presence is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet its effect is felt deeply. Hearts relax, breaths lengthen, and minds consider the other's perspective with newfound patience. Even in the midst of disagreement, this soft touch of the divine encourages calm, guiding differences toward quiet reconciliation rather than conflict. Along the river, lanterns float silently on the current. Worshippers on each bank lay offerings of grain, water, and flowers. Some choose different words, different songs, yet the river carries all of them gently, weaving the devotions into a single flowing harmony. Each ripple reflects a soft understanding that faith may differ in form but shares a common, enduring essence. The messengers of peace glide over the water, tracing invisible patterns that connect the hearts of all who offer their prayers. Within the temple walls, incense curls upward in pale streams, weaving between shadows and candlelight. The soft fragrance fills every corner, calming nerves and quieting the mind. Here, subtle debates arise about ritual, interpretation, or timing of offerings. Yet even in these moments, voices remain low, almost musical, as if each word is weighed in the balance of empathy and reflection. The presence of unseen guides ensures that these differences remain gentle, that no harshness enters the sacred space. A young scribe copies sacred texts by lamplight, aware of differing interpretations in nearby halls. The air is still, heavy with the soft weight of devotion, yet light with the potential of understanding. Each careful stroke of the stylus reflects a quiet respect for diversity. A messenger hovers nearby, its glow brushing the pages with warmth. In this gentle illumination, disagreements soften, and the scribes remember the shared purpose that binds their faith: reverence, clarity, and the slow nurturing of wisdom. In the garden outside the temple, petals drift lazily on the evening breeze. A group of elders sits together discussing differing practices. Their voices are calm, their gestures open as they share the gentle art of compromise. Even when ideas diverge, the emphasis is on listening, on feeling the heart behind each expression. Messengers move through the garden, their subtle presence reinforcing understanding, their soft glow encouraging patience, reflection, and the quiet joy of shared devotion. Along narrow streets, neighbors pause in conversation, each speaking of their beliefs in careful tones. Differences arise, yet the soft wind carries calm over the rooftops, blending each perspective into a chorus that celebrates devotion in many forms. Children play nearby, their laughter rising above the gentle disputes, reminding all that harmony can exist even amid varied faith. The messengers, moving unseen, touch hearts gently, ensuring that curiosity and compassion overshadow judgment and friction. At the city gates, travelers from distant lands gather, each holding customs unfamiliar to others. Softly, they exchange greetings, cautious yet warm. Differences in devotion are evident, yet none are ignored. All are met with respect. The faint presence of divine messengers hovers among them, weaving subtle connections between stories, rituals, and prayers. Where fear might have settled, understanding rises in its place, soft and patient, like a quiet river threading through stone. In one quiet chamber, a priestess kneels, sensing the delicate balance of belief around her. Her thoughts drift over the disputes she has witnessed that day, small disagreements over timing, sequence, or words of prayer. She breathes slowly, imagining each participant as a single thread in a vast tapestry. The messengers respond to her calm, circling softly, their pale light illuminating both the temple and her spirit. The tension melts like dew under morning sunlight, leaving space for gentle resolution. Near the marketplace, a minor dispute arises over sacred tokens brought from neighboring towns. Merchants and devotees speak softly, their tones careful, yet their passion shows. Here too, divine presences hover invisibly, brushing away the edges of frustration, encouraging listening and inviting compromise. Coins are exchanged without resentment, words are spoken with care, and the dispute resolves into a quiet acknowledgement of shared humanity. Even when faith differs, the essence of respect and empathy is maintained. At twilight, bells in distant temples begin to ring, their echoes soft and round, rolling across hills and valleys. Messengers move with the sound, their presence harmonizing with the rhythm of devotion. Pilgrims pause mid-step, feeling a subtle shift in atmosphere, a moment of quiet reflection in which differences seem smaller, and the shared purpose of seeking connection, guidance, and solace shines clearly. The gentle music of the bells carries understanding, teaching hearts to weigh words carefully, and minds to consider empathy before action. In gardens behind the city walls, water flows over small stones in slow, deliberate paths. A debate between two small groups of worshippers arises about interpretations of a recent teaching. They gesture gently, words hovering like drifting leaves. Messengers pass between them, invisible but effective, aligning energies toward calm. By the time the moon rises fully, the groups sit together in quiet conversation, differences acknowledged but softened, shared devotion bridging the space between them. On the high terraces, the stars gleam like scattered jewels across the dark canvas of night. Messengers rise to meet them, gliding between constellations, carrying prayers upward and returning with insight. The soft glow of celestial light bathes the temple roofs below, uniting the many forms of devotion under the same tender illumination. Even conflicts of faith find their resolution here, not in argument or confrontation, but in the slow recognition that all hearts seeking connection carry value. Within the narrow corridors of the city, whispers of differing beliefs drift softly, touching each room and alley. No one voice dominates, all are gentle and measured. Messengers brush past, their light rippling over walls and rooftops, reminding every soul that the true heart of devotion lies not in victory or conquest, but in the quiet practice of care, reflection, and empathy. Even when disputes arise, they are tempered, measured, and transformed into lessons of patience and understanding. By the river, night deepens and the lanterns float with the current, their reflections mingling on the water's surface. Messengers drift over the scene, their presence lending serenity to every ripple. Worshippers from different communities release their offerings side by side, differences acknowledged but rendered gentle. The soft hum of water, the faint glimmer of starlight, and the invisible touch of divine guidance weave together a tapestry of unity, where faith is celebrated in many forms. Through quiet temple halls, soft footsteps echo as devotees rise for evening prayers. Their movements are careful, deliberate, mindful of those around them. Even when rituals differ, each motion is touched by the subtle influence of messengers, whose presence encourages respect, patience, and gentle attentiveness. The air is warm, the incense curls, and the space itself seems to breathe in rhythm with the soft pulse of understanding that flows through every act. Now, as the night deepens, you drift above the city, observing the quiet harmony that has emerged from delicate conflicts. Gentle disputes have been tempered by empathy, whispered differences softened by patience, and the tender influence of messengers has guided each heart toward calm. Even in diversity, there is peace, woven through the quiet streets, gardens, and riverbanks, a reminder that faith may vary, but the essence of devotion is shared. Let us drift onward, following the invisible paths of these divine presences, gliding past lanternlit temples, over quiet rivers, and through still gardens. Feel the soft touch of guidance, the tender weight of empathy, and the quiet harmony that blooms where differences are met with care. Now rest, as the stars return, as the lanterns float on gentle waters, and as divine messengers continue their silent journeys, cradling all hearts in the quiet understanding of sacred faith. Twilight lingers softly across the palace walls, where stones, worn smooth by centuries of rain and sun, reflect the last gentle blush of the day. You drift above the gardens, the quiet scent of jasmine and lotus filling the air, mingling with the cool breath of evening winds. The world feels hushed, as if holding its breath, allowing all creatures and spirits alike a moment to settle into stillness. Pathways wind slowly between flowering hedges, their edges trimmed with tender care. The gardens are more than decoration. They are spaces of thought, of reflection, where humans come to listen, not speak, to feel, not act. Water trickles softly from fountains carved of smooth stone, carrying the gentle murmur of the heavens into the hearts of those who wander beneath archways of climbing vines. Here, even the smallest ripple can hold a prayer, a memory, or a quiet wish. Along a narrow path, a monk walks barefoot, sandals left at the entrance to honor the sanctity of the earth. Each step is measured, deliberate, as if the ground itself hums beneath his feet. He passes a small pool where lotus flowers float like delicate lanterns, reflecting the evening stars as they begin to shimmer above. A subtle presence moves through the air, unseen yet felt, brushing against his thoughts and easing any trace of tension. Even in solitude, he is not alone. Spirits of the gardens accompany him, invisible companions guiding his contemplation. A gentle breeze carries the scent of roses and lavender through the courtyards. In one corner, a woman kneels before a small shrine, her fingers tracing the worn edges of a stone offering. Her lips move in soft murmurs, prayers shaped in words older than the walls themselves. Above her, unseen messengers glide silently, their faint glow casting pale patterns of light across the marble. They move with the rhythm of devotion, guiding her heart to focus on reflection, on the quiet examination of her own spirit. Water flows in gentle channels through the gardens, tracing lines as delicate as brushstrokes across parchment. Birds alight on low branches, their soft songs punctuating the silence. Each note seems to answer a question, soothe a worry, or carry a fragment of insight to those who pause to listen. Their wings stir the air like the soft sigh of eternity, reminding all who are present that movement can exist even in stillness, and that reflection is not merely thought, but a living, breathing rhythm between the heart and the world. Near the central fountain, two elders sit on a smooth stone bench. Their robes are pale against the dark green of the hedges. They speak softly, almost as if the plants themselves might hear, exchanging insights not as arguments but as gentle offerings. Words drift like petals on water, each one received with care. Differences of opinion exist here, of course, but they are softened by the presence of quiet understanding. The spirits of the garden hover nearby, shaping the energy so that no tension lingers, only calm and contemplation. You float past a pavilion where students of the temple gather. Their scrolls lie open on low tables, inked with careful script. A gentle wind rustles the pages as if inviting them to pause to let the words sink slowly into the mind. In the distance, the hum of a bell resonates softly, calling attention to the present moment. Messengers drift through the air above them, moving in quiet arcs, brushing against thoughts and encouraging patience. No hurry exists here. Every lesson is measured by the slow unfolding of awareness, every insight a soft lantern along a path. In a secluded grove, shadows deepen beneath towering cypresses. A quiet fountain sings a lullaby of stone and water, while a young acolyte places small offerings along its edge. Each flower, each drop of water, carries with it a fragment of devotion, a small piece of the human desire to connect with the divine. The messengers of the garden brush against these gifts, carrying their essence onward, weaving them into the tapestry of the larger sanctuary. The grove seems to breathe with contentment, a space alive with reflection and reverence. Along a winding stream, petals float lazily on the surface, catching the light of a rising moon. Devotees sit upon low stones, their thoughts drifting with the water, neither hurried nor fixed. Here, the soft currents carry more than water. They carry questions, gratitude, memories, and hope. Each ripple is a gentle answer, each shimmer a quiet echo of understanding. The messengers hover close, guiding the minds of those present without disturbance, illuminating paths of insight without speaking a word. A single lantern sways in the breeze near a lily pond, its flame steady and warm. A woman leans close, her reflection mingling with that of the stars above. She traces the outlines of the flowers with her gaze, letting the soft beauty of their forms guide her thoughts. In this quiet, differences between past and present, human and divine, dissolve into one calm moment of awareness. The spirits of the garden drift overhead, touching her gently, ensuring that reflection becomes not struggle but serenity. Stone bridges cross the narrow channels of the garden, their arches worn smooth with time. Underneath, water hums softly against the rocks, carrying whispers of prayers that once floated across these same streams centuries ago. Messengers glide above the bridges, invisible to the eye yet tangible to the spirit, connecting past devotion to the present. Travelers pass slowly across, pausing to observe the still water, the quiet fountains, and the blooms that bend lightly in the evening air. Even the soft echo of footsteps seems blessed by the calm energy of this place. At the far edge of the gardens, a small grove of cherry trees releases petals into the night. They drift gently to the ground, covering paths like a delicate carpet. A lone priest walks slowly among them, his robes brushing the petals, each step mindful. He stops beneath a tree and closes his eyes, inhaling the faint fragrance carried on the breeze. Above him, a pale glow appears, the soft, watchful presence of a messenger, moving in patterns as gentle as drifting clouds. The tree and the priest seem to breathe together, sharing a quiet rhythm of reflection. Soft lanterns line the garden walls, their light pooling on paths lined with moss and small stones. Devotees wander quietly, sometimes alone, sometimes in pairs, always moving at the pace of thought itself. A gentle fountain burbles in the center, reflecting the pale starlight above. Here, even disagreement or inner tension can find resolution. A soft gaze inward, a slow breath, and the energy of the garden itself smooths the edges of worry, the whispers of messengers nudging hearts toward calm. You drift past a circular courtyard where a pool mirrors the night sky. Reflections of clouds and stars ripple as a soft wind stirs the water. Pilgrims kneel along its edges, their offerings small and tender. Each flower, each candle, each drop of water carries devotion into the flow, and the messengers guide these fragments gently, letting them merge with the greater harmony of the garden. Even silent contemplation becomes a form of shared prayer here, bridging time and space in quiet, luminous arcs. Nearby, a small grove shelters a circle of statues, each carved with care and attention to form. Their eyes seem to watch, not to judge, but to invite reflection. Pilgrims pause before them, tracing the lines of stone with reverent fingers. The messengers move unseen, illuminating small insights and softening the mind's harsh edges. Even shadows become gentle companions, and the wind carries the scent of blooms to ease thought and calm spirit. At the highest terrace of the garden, a quiet pavilion overlooks the flowing waters below. Candles flicker, their glow touching faces with warmth. Visitors sit cross-legged on mats, eyes closed, hands resting on knees. Thoughts rise and fall like the rippling stream below. The messengers circle silently, weaving threads of calm, ensuring that each reflection, whether joyous, sorrowful, or questioning, finds a place in the gentle rhythm of the garden. A small stream leads out of the main garden into a quieter glade. Here, blossoms float freely, unclaimed by human hands. The sound of water over stones is soft and constant, a lullaby for the mind. Devotees linger, feeling the slow passage of time and the gentle, patient touch of the divine. Even disagreements from distant courtyards feel softened here, absorbed into the quiet order of water and wind, leaf and stone. Reflection becomes a shared current, flowing through every soul who pauses to notice. As night deepens, stars emerge above, scattered like tiny candles across the velvet sky. The messengers ascend, tracing lines between constellations, carrying the devotion and insight of the gardens to the heavens. Fountains sparkle with reflected light, petals shimmer in soft moonlight, and the air holds the quiet hum of serene contemplation. Every creature, human or spirit, breathes in the shared calm, woven by centuries of care, devotion, and soft guidance. Now you drift gently above the garden gates, feeling the slow rhythm of reflection carried in every stone, every petal, every ripple. The world is hushed, ready for the gentle embrace of sleep. Thoughts soften, tension eases, and the heart rests in the quiet continuity of devotion. Let us drift onward, through archways and along flowing channels, past lanterns and quiet fountains, guided by the soft touch of messengers and the gentle rhythms of blooms. Now rest, as the stars return, as petals float on still waters, and as the gardens themselves cradle all hearts in the tranquil, enduring rhythm of reflection. Twilight settles gently over the ancient city, softening the edges of clay walls and cobblestone streets. Lanterns sway in quiet courtyards, their pale glow reflecting on still pools of water. The air carries a faint scent of ink, parchment, and candle smoke. You drift slowly above the rooftops, following a path that leads to the quiet sanctuaries where scribes sit in devoted silence. Their world is one of patience, of measured breaths, of slow and careful gestures, and even the softest footfall feels like a prayer. Inside a modest chamber, a scribe bends over a low table, her hands steady as they guide reed pens across smooth clay tablets. Each mark is precise, a soft echo of thought and devotion. Words appear not in haste, but as a gentle unfolding, like petals opening in the early morning light. Outside, the evening wind brushes through the window, carrying with it the faint fragrance of jasmine from the garden. The scribe does not notice the scent consciously. It settles quietly within her, as if offering companionship to her steady work. She pauses to breathe, tracing her fingers lightly along the wet ink, letting the story settle before moving on. Her eyes reflect the flickering candlelight, as if the flame itself has lent a measure of its calm to the words she writes. The clay tablet before her will outlast her lifetime, carrying her thoughts and prayers to generations who have not yet arrived. Each character is a small song, a soft note in a vast, ongoing melody that stretches across time. In a nearby hall, another scribe traces symbols onto parchment, his hand guided by the slow rhythm of his own heartbeat. The room is quiet, filled only with the gentle scratch of pen against surface, the muted rustle of robes, and the distant hum of temple bells. Outside, the wind moves through the trees, brushing petals onto the courtyard stones. Even the smallest gesture, the tilt of a head, the careful motion of a pen, seems sacred here, part of a slow, unbroken flow that honors both human thought and the gentle presence of unseen guides. The scribe's work is not hurried. It cannot be. Words must breathe. Each line, each curve carries the weight of remembrance and hope. Stories of harvest and famine, of kings and humble villagers, of prayers whispered beneath moonlight, all find their place here. The scribes gather not only events but the subtle music of human experience, the softness of joy, the quiet echo of sorrow, the gentle murmur of dreams that flicker and fade like the candlelight on the walls. Outside the windows, birds settle on roof tiles, their feathers catching the last light of evening. Their songs are soft and intermittent, punctuating the silence without intrusion. They are companions to the scribes, invisible threads connecting earth and sky, spirit and mind. In the pauses between words, between gestures of pen and brush, the scribes listen. Even without noticing, they absorb the rhythm of life around them, weaving it into the stories they leave behind. A young apprentice leans over a tablet, tracing symbols carefully, guided by a more experienced hand. Her eyes are wide, attentive, absorbing the slow patience of her teacher. Each stroke is a lesson, not in haste but in mindfulness. Every word must find its rhythm, must breathe like water flowing in a quiet stream. Mistakes are not failures here. They are part of the melody, soft notes that remind the scribe of the care required to touch eternity through fragile clay and delicate ink. In the quiet of the chamber, a faint wind carries a scent of incense, blending with the earthy fragrance of dried reeds and parchment. A small bell tinkles somewhere in the distance, its sound a gentle reminder of the sacred rhythm that guides all action. The scribes rise occasionally, stretching hands and shoulders, but always returning to their work with the same calm devotion. The outside world, with its movement and noise, seems to pause when one enters this sanctuary of thought. The words on the tablet speak in silence, yet they sing. A tale of a village that once feared the rising river and of how villagers gathered to offer small gifts to calm its flow unfolds in quiet symbols. Another tablet recounts a festival, soft music, and laughter beneath lantern light. The scribes do not need to speak these stories aloud. The rhythm of their hands, the pressure of the pen, the quiet breathing of the room, all carry the song across time. Even the tiniest marking is a note in this gentle symphony. A soft shadow passes through the chamber as an elder scribe moves to another table. He pauses, closing his eyes for a slow breath, feeling the presence of generations who have also bent over tablets, leaving quiet offerings of thought and devotion. The apprentice watches, learning that reflection is as vital as inscription, that wisdom is not merely written but felt, held, and carried in the quiet folds of time. The chamber seems to hum, not with words but with the soft resonance of purpose and patience. Outside, the moon rises over tiled roofs and gardens, spilling silver light across the courtyard. Lanterns flicker in gentle response, their reflections dancing upon the surface of water channels. The scribes work still, moving through stories both tender and sorrowful. A tablet records a reconciliation between neighbors, another recounts a night of prayer in a temple courtyard. Even moments of conflict are softened here, captured in measured, reflective gestures. The words themselves seem to breathe, carrying the weight of human experience without burdening the spirit. A breeze drifts through an open window, stirring papers and reeds. Petals from a nearby blossom fall softly onto the floor, resting beside tablets in silent companionship. The scribes lift them delicately, letting their small presence inspire reflection rather than distraction. Every element of the garden, the chamber, the night sky, and the murmuring fountains becomes part of the song carried within these rooms. Even silence is not empty. It is the quiet cadence that allows each word to resonate fully. Some scribes work alone, others in pairs, their hands moving in a slow, intertwined rhythm. They are not hurried by need or expectation. Each line is a meditation, each symbol a soft bridge between memory and eternity. The gentle scratch of pen against parchment becomes a lullaby for those who will come after, an echo of thought and devotion that outlasts the fleeting day. In this quiet sanctuary, the past and present fold together, creating a serene continuum of human care and attention. A scribe pauses to dip her pen into ink, watching the fluid swirl in the well, reflecting the candlelight. She smiles softly, sensing the presence of something unseen, guiding her hand without interference. The air seems to thrum with the gentle pulse of unseen messengers, invisible threads connecting scribes, stories, and the spaces between worlds. Even mistakes are welcomed here, softened by time and reflection into small, harmonious notes. The youngest apprentice traces lines of script across a clay tablet, her hands steadying as she learns to match the rhythm of her breath to the motion of her pen. She does not yet know all the stories, nor all the weight they carry, but she feels the quiet devotion of those who have come before. Every stroke is a song of hope, every word a tender offering. In time, her work will join the symphony of scribes who have, across generations, preserved both sorrow and joy, weaving them into a slow, enduring melody. In a corner, a small fountain murmurs quietly, carrying its gentle music over the stones. Petals float across the water, their descent barely audible, yet each movement resonates with calm. The scribes glance occasionally toward the fountain, feeling its soft rhythm align with their own. Water, wind, ink, and candlelight intertwine, composing an atmosphere where reflection and creation exist as one. Outside, stars emerge across the sky, shimmering faintly over the city and gardens. Lanterns flicker, mirroring the starlight on polished tables and clay tablets. Every sound, every motion, every subtle shift of light or shadow contributes to the sacred song unfolding in these chambers. Even the quiet hum of distant voices becomes part of the soft music carried in the air, a gentle reminder that human experience in its smallest details can travel far beyond its own moment. A scribe lifts a tablet, holding it against the candlelight. The shadows of characters ripple across the walls, dancing slowly with the flame. Each stroke, each carefully measured curve, becomes part of a larger rhythm, an ongoing song of memory, devotion, and hope. Messengers drift invisibly through the room, brushing lightly against tablets, bringing a quiet touch of understanding to those who will read these words long after the candles have faded. As night deepens, all scribes pause simultaneously, hands resting on tables, eyes closing in gentle meditation. The room hums softly with the quiet energy of reflection. The wind moves outside, carrying scents of ink, paper, and blossoms. The moon glows high above, illuminating courtyards, gardens, and fountains in soft silver light. Even as silence settles, the songs of the scribes continue, resonating softly across time, touching hearts yet unborn. You float slowly above the chamber, over tables, across gardens, past lanterns and fountains. The words, the ink, the soft marks of devotion all drift with you, carrying the gentle rhythm of human hope, curiosity, and care. Each story, each note, each silent offering becomes part of a larger melody that stretches across generations, whispering softly to those who pause to listen. Let us drift onward, guided by the soft songs of the scribes, through chambers of ink and clay, past the gentle fountains and the quiet gardens. Let us carry their devotion with us, allowing the rhythm of reflection and hope to settle into our hearts. Now rest, as the stars return, as the night deepens, and as the soft songs of the scribes continue, whispering calm across time and space. The city breathes quietly beneath the silver light of the rising moon. Towers and walls, once sharp and unyielding in the sunlight, soften into gentle curves. Shadows stretch lazily across courtyards and narrow streets, blending with the pale glow that pools in the quiet fountains. You drift above Babylon, where stone meets river, and the air carries the faint fragrance of date palms, incense, and the soft warmth of lingering clay. Small temple near the riverbank, a solitary figure kneels, hands resting lightly upon smooth stone. The scribe's pen is set aside and the mind turns inward. The soft rustle of robes echoes faintly, harmonizing with the distant lap of water against the docks. Each breath is measured, a slow rise and fall, a wave that travels gently through the chamber. Outside, the moon hangs low, touching the city with silver fingers, illuminating every curve of a garden wall, every reflection in the quiet pools. The streets are still, save for the faint footsteps of watchmen passing beneath archways. Lamps swing softly in the evening breeze, casting circles of golden light that mingle with moonlight, forming pools of calm on the worn stones. In one courtyard, a fountain murmurs over its ledges, sending tiny ripples across the water. Petals from a nearby blossom drift slowly down, resting gently on the surface, carried by currents as delicate as whispers. A temple priest moves along the corridor, candle in hand. The wax drips slowly, quietly, a tiny rhythm in the otherwise hushed space. He pauses before a statue, tracing its contours with fingertips, not hurried, not restless. Each movement is a soft meditation, each glance an acknowledgement of the long passage of generations who have knelt here before. Moonlight spills over the statue's face, highlighting the calm serenity etched into stone. In this gentle illumination, even the city's distant walls seem softened, touched by the grace of night. Along the river, small boats float quietly, tethered to wooden posts. Their hulls sway with the subtle current, each movement measured, unhurried. A fisherman leans on a paddle, resting, watching the stars appear one by one. The water mirrors the sky, silver and deep, carrying reflections of lanterns, moonlight, and palm fronds in a slow, liquid dance. The city's heartbeat is calm now, and even past conflicts, once sharp and burning, seem to settle in the gentle embrace of night. Inside another chamber, a scribe traces careful symbols across a clay tablet. Each mark is soft, deliberate, carrying the weight of thought without burden. Outside, the distant echo of a drum vibrates through the still air, a reminder of life beyond the walls, yet it is muted, softened by moonlight and distance. The scribe's eyes reflect both candle and moon, flickering gently like twin stars. The stories recorded here speak not only of kings and battles, but of prayers whispered in hope, of dreams offered for peace. You float over a garden terrace, where fountains send silver arcs of water into the night. The air carries the subtle fragrance of night-blooming flowers, sweet and soft. In the quiet, someone sits cross-legged, eyes closed, hands resting on knees. A faint hum leaves their lips, barely audible, yet it seems to echo across the terrace and into the city itself. The hum blends with the gentle splash of water, with the quiet sway of trees, with the moonlight spilling across every surface. Each note is a soft invocation, a gentle hope that the night may cradle the city in serenity. In the marketplace, abandoned for the hour, shadows cling to stalls and arches. Clay pots and woven baskets rest undisturbed, silent witnesses to the rhythm of daily life now paused. Moonlight brushes the stones, highlighting the textures of carved wood and weathered metal. Even the forgotten tools and vessels seem to hold stories, whispers of hands that once shaped them, of the rhythm of labor and devotion. The city itself feels alive, yet tender, wrapped in a silver calm that embraces walls, courtyards, and every quiet heart within. A group of young temple attendants gather in the inner hall, speaking in whispers that are more song than conversation. Their voices rise and fall like the soft sway of reeds along the riverbank. Candles tremble with their movement, casting shadows that dance gently on the walls. Outside, a breeze stirs the branches, sending leaves rustling softly, a natural accompaniment to the human murmurs. The moon watches silently, silver and serene, as though blessing this delicate harmony between night and life. Along the outer walls, guards pace slowly, their footsteps deliberate and calm. Each step sends a faint echo, joining the chorus of water, wind, and soft voices. The moonlight catches on their armor, dulling it into muted silver that seems more like reflection than metal. Even vigilance here is quiet, measured, part of the city's gentle breathing rather than a harsh interruption. Babylon under moonlight moves at the rhythm of reflection and repose, each moment a soft gift to the city and those who dwell within it. In a secluded courtyard, a woman places small offerings of fruit and incense upon a stone altar. Her hands are steady, her movements slow and mindful. She leans briefly, touching the stone, feeling the coolness beneath her fingers. The scents mingle, drifting outward with the evening air, curling around walls and through open doorways. The moonlight catches each curve of her gesture, each careful placement, turning the act into a quiet prayer that rises gently into the night. Elsewhere, a child sits at the edge of the river, watching the water ripple beneath the silver glow. Small fish shimmer in the reflected light, moving like living threads of moonbeam. The child drops a pebble into the water, listening to its tiny plash and smiles faintly. Even small actions feel sacred under this calm sky, every moment a meditation, every breath a soft song of life. The city, in turn, seems to lean closer, listening to these tiny echoes of hope and wonder. Inside the great ziggurat, steps rise into shadows, each level catching moonlight differently, softening hard edges into gentle terraces. A priest climbs slowly, resting hands lightly on the carved railing, each stone warmed slightly by the day's sun but cooling into night. At the summit, he pauses, gazing across the city. Lanterns flicker in courtyards, the river glimmers and walls stretch peacefully into the horizon. Even past conflicts, distant and lingering, seem softened here, wrapped in moonlight's tender embrace. From this height, the city hums quietly, a harmony of whispers, water, wind, and distant movement. A single candle glows on a rooftop, its flame steady despite the night breeze. Children sleep in homes, villagers breathe in rhythm with the night, and the scribes continue their work, marking prayers, memories, and gentle hopes onto tablets and parchment. Even when words cannot travel quickly, they carry softly through air and heart, a quiet presence bridging moments, people, and generations. Along the river's edge, reeds sway with the current, each movement catching the silver light like a soft song in motion. A fisherman rests, eyes closed, feeling the cool wind and the gentle pull of water beneath his boat. Across the city, someone traces words into a clay tablet, recording a story, a reflection, or a prayer. Every act, no matter how small, is part of the city's living rhythm, part of the soft music that weaves through streets, gardens, and walls alike. In the quiet of a temple chamber, incense curls lazily toward the ceiling. The smoke moves like slow dancers, each tendril guided by invisible hands. A priestess leans back, resting on a cushion, letting the scent mingle with the moonlight streaming through latticed windows. Her mind drifts over the day's events, the joys, the small sorrows, the fleeting moments of reconciliation and understanding. Even the conflicts, now distant in the silver haze, are softened by reflection and time. The moon rises higher, painting the city in gentle light. Towers and walls are no longer harsh or daunting, but rounded with calm, softened by centuries of thought, prayer, and human care. Gardens breathe softly, fountains murmur, and shadows blend seamlessly into light. In every courtyard, every quiet room, every narrow street, life continues in a rhythm that is unhurried, reflective, and gentle. You float slowly above Babylon, taking in the delicate harmony of night. The city is a tapestry of whispers and reflections, of prayers and memories, of soft hope threaded through human experience. Each lighted window, each flicker of flame, each ripple on the river, and every small movement of life contributes to the city's silver song. Time here is measured not in urgency but in breath, in gentle attention, in the quiet unfolding of human devotion under the watchful moon. Let us drift onward, carried by the calm of moonlight and water, by the soft murmurs of prayer and reflection. Let each moment settle into the heart like a slow, tender wave, quieting thought, easing worry, and nurturing gentle peace. Now rest as the stars return, as the night deepens, and as Babylon, touched by silver light, sighs softly into tranquility. The first light of evening brushes the horizon, painting the sky in soft shades of lavender and gold. Along the riverbanks and near hidden pools, the water rests quietly, reflecting the delicate colors of the dusk. Gentle ripples ripple outward from stones and fallen leaves, carrying faint whispers of wind and the soft rustle of reeds. You drift above this sacred space, where water meets earth and sky, and feel the quiet calm that settles here, as if the river itself exhales slowly into the world. In a small village near the river, families gather at the edge of a sacred pool. The water glimmers like molten silver under the fading light. Children, curious and careful, trace their fingers across the surface, leaving tiny circles that vanish as quickly as they appear. Elders sit nearby, their feet resting lightly in shallow water, letting the gentle current brush against skin warmed by the sun. Every ripple seems to carry away the weight of worry, a slow, natural cleansing that spreads quietly through body and mind. A priestess steps to the pool, robes flowing like a soft shadow across the stones. Her hands hold a simple vessel of water, which she lifts and lets fall again in a small arc. Each drop catches the last light of day, sending tiny sparks across the surface. Around her, the gathered people watch in silence, breathing in time with the soft rhythm of water lapping against the banks. There is no hurry here, no urgency. Every movement, every glance carries the gentle weight of devotion and care. Along the river, small boats drift lazily, tied loosely to wooden posts. Fishermen and women, returning from their day's labor, lean on paddles, letting the current carry them slowly. The water moves in quiet waves, smoothing the city's edges, softening the stone walls that rise from its banks. Even past disagreements, disputes that once seemed sharp and unyielding, melt into this calm. The river has a memory, yet it does not cling. It accepts, it releases, and it nourishes. In the courtyard of a temple beside the water, steps lead down into a shallow pool. Here, the faithful wash hands and feet, dipping into the cool liquid with gentle care. A breeze stirs the surface, sending ripples across the reflections of lamps and moonlight. The act is simple, but sacred. Each hand that touches the water leaves behind not only the dust of travel or toil, but also the subtle burdens of the day. And as the water flows onward, these small weights drift away, dispersed into the current, softened and unseen. Nearby, a group of women kneels on woven mats, offering herbs and flowers to the water. Petals float on the surface, bright against the deep reflection of the sky. The priestess dips her hands, releasing more offerings. Lavender sprigs, tiny blossoms, smooth stones picked from the riverbed. Each item is a prayer, a hope, a gentle acknowledgement that healing comes not only from water but from care, from attention, and from the soft joining of human thought with the quiet flow of the earth. On a small footbridge, a child leans over, dropping pebbles in slow succession. Each plash is a note in a quiet song, a rhythm that harmonizes with the murmuring of the river, the sighing of reeds, and the distant hum of the temple's bells. The water ripples outward, circles expanding until they meet and blend, never harsh, never abrupt. In these simple motions, a sense of reconciliation forms. Differences, sadness, or tension, these all dissolve in time in the steady, gentle rhythm of moving water. A healer rests at the edge of a hot spring, eyes closed, letting steam curl softly around shoulders. The warm water embraces the body, relaxing muscles, easing aches, and carrying away fatigue. Visitors pause respectfully, waiting their turn, absorbing the stillness around them. The water is not rushed. It does not judge. It simply welcomes, holding every visitor in a soft embrace. Even the heart, if it is willing, feels a little lighter in such company. Birds settle into the branches of nearby trees, their wings brushing against one another in quiet rustles. Their calls are soft, tentative, like whispers of encouragement. The wind carries their song over the pool, over the river, over the city beyond, threading gently into the quiet murmur of human voices. Every sound, every movement blends seamlessly with the rhythm of water. There is a sense of balance here, a slow agreement between earth, sky, and heart, in which all may find repose. In another corner of the river, an elderly man dips his fingers into the current, letting it flow over them. He closes his eyes and listens to the gentle push and pull, feeling each current as a reminder of the long journey of life. The water carries reflections of the clouds, the lamps, and the soft faces of those nearby. It reminds him that even when the world shifts and trembles, there are places that remain steady, waiting quietly to soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Small boats drift with quiet passengers, each person leaning slightly, resting against the worn wood, eyes following the silver paths on the water. Lanterns hang gently from posts, reflecting in the ripples as tiny stars scattered across the river's surface. The city beyond moves slowly, the chatter of life softened and distant, leaving space for meditation, for thought, and for the subtle washing away of worry. In this light, in this stillness, even the memory of past conflict can dissolve, leaving only a gentle, enduring calm. The priestess rises from the pool and walks along the water's edge, her steps careful, soft against the stones. She pauses at the root of a flowering tree, resting her palm lightly against the trunk. The blossoms above her tremble with the evening breeze, petals drifting into the pool like tiny gifts. Every gesture is measured, a soft prayer without words. She tilts her face toward the last light of the setting sun, letting the warmth and the water mingle, filling the heart with gentle reassurance. Families gather once more as night falls fully. They sit on mats and stones, letting the water ripple softly around ankles and fingers. Children trace circles in the surface, adults adjust offerings, and elders hum quietly, sending songs of hope into the night. A fire flickers nearby, the smoke mingling with the cool air, carrying fragrances that curl toward the stars. Moonlight touches every surface, silvering the waters and softening the edges of stone and wood. The river glows with calm, as though aware of the collective breath of the people, mirroring it gently and returning it in kind. Along the far bank, reeds bend and sway. Tiny fish shimmer beneath the surface, moving with invisible currents. A young healer kneels, tracing shapes in the water with fingers following the slow, purposeful flow. Each motion is a meditation, a reflection on the passing of time and the gentle endurance of life. Even the unseen inhabitants of the river, the fish, the insects, the subtle drift of pollen, participate quietly in the city's evening harmony. Above, the sky darkens to indigo, the first stars peeking out like distant lanterns. Their light touches the water, mingling with reflections of lamps and offerings. The river becomes a bridge between earth and sky, a silver path connecting present with memory, human effort with divine grace. In the soft glow, each ripple seems to carry a prayer, each shadow a moment of reflection. Time slows here, allowing space for the heart to breathe and the mind to rest. The night deepens and the water moves steadily, softly, unhurried. Visitors sit quietly, immersed in reflection, allowing worries to flow away. The sound of a gentle breeze rustles leaves and petals, mingling with the distant hum of a temple bell. Even the faint splash of a fish breaking the surface blends seamlessly into the soft rhythm of the night. Here, among these healing waters, peace is not a distant idea. It is a living, breathing presence, tangible and gentle. In the quiet, a woman dips a vessel into the pool, gathering water to take back to her home. She lifts it slowly, letting a few drops fall back into the river, sending delicate circles across the surface. A subtle smile lifts her lips. The water carries memories and intentions alike, dissolving them gently so that each person may carry only what is needed, leaving the rest behind in the silver currents. Even the smallest ripple is sacred, a touch of grace in a quiet night. As moonlight rises, the pools and rivers glow softly, reflecting not only the stars above but also the hearts of those who pause here. The water moves with a rhythm that is both steady and tender, teaching without words, calming without force. Each person, each child, each elder participates in this silent lesson of patience, presence, and gentle letting go. Let us drift now, following the subtle paths of water, the soft reflections of moonlight, the quiet movements of life beneath the night sky. Let every ripple ease tension, every reflection soothe thought, and every gentle wave carry away the weight of the day. The waters murmur softly, reminding us that healing is quiet, gradual, and ever-present. Now rest as the moon rises fully, as the stars watch silently, and as Babylon's rivers and pools, sacred and gentle, hold every heart in their calm embrace. Let the soft echo of water guide the mind, letting worries dissolve like ripples on still water. Sleep now beneath the silver glow, and let the night carry you forward with tender, unwavering peace. As the twilight deepens, the city of Babylon rests beneath a sky brushed with soft indigo and silver. Stars begin to shimmer, small lanterns of memory scattered across the heavens, and the gentle hum of the evening flows through the streets and temples. You drift quietly above stone walls and quiet courtyards, following the slow, deliberate rhythm of life here, feeling the calm that settles over earth and sky alike. In a courtyard lined with cedar trees, a group of elders gathers. Their robes are simple, their faces calm, and their eyes reflect both the flicker of oil lamps and the long passage of time. They speak in hushed tones, passing down the stories of sages who lived centuries ago, their words soft, gentle, and patient. Every syllable seems to carry a subtle warmth, as if the voice itself is a caress for the mind. One elder, holding a small tablet of clay, traces patterns with careful fingers. The inscriptions shimmer in the evening light, lines of wisdom etched by hands long gone. Each mark tells of understanding, of disputes settled with gentle reasoning, and of guidance that did not demand obedience but invited reflection. As you float over the tablet, the curves and impressions seem to breathe, whispering lessons of patience and compassion into the quiet night. The children of the city sit nearby, listening and watching. Their small hands rest on their knees, eyes wide but serene. Even in their curiosity, there is a slow unfolding of understanding. They trace the air above the elders' hands, imagining the stories, imagining the resolutions, imagining the calm that came from careful thought rather than sudden action. The teachings are soft, like petals drifting onto still water, settling without ripple and nurturing the heart quietly. By the river, another scene unfolds. A priestess kneels beside the gentle current, holding a vessel filled with water and herbs. She lifts it slowly, letting the fragrant liquid spill into the stream. Each drop sends circles across the surface, merging with the river's gentle flow. The motion is quiet, deliberate, a meditation in practice as well as spirit. The water carries both the offering and the lesson, that small acts, repeated with care and attention, ripple outward far beyond the eye. The streets are calm. Stone and clay structures rise, softened by the moonlight. From the windows of homes, lamps shine like tiny beacons. Families sit in low gatherings, sharing words and stories that echo the ancient teachings. The sage's wisdom is alive here, not in scrolls alone, but in gentle laughter, in shared meals, in the careful tending of the hearth. Each act is a reflection of the larger truth, that patience and understanding grow quietly, unseen but unyielding, shaping hearts with subtle grace. In the temple halls, incense curls slowly toward the high ceiling. The fragrant smoke carries both reverence and reflection. It winds among the columns, wrapping softly around the figures moving within. A scribe records names, offerings, and prayers, his stylus moving in gentle arcs across soft clay. His work is not hurried. Each impression is considered, each line placed with care. The scribe's calm presence reminds all who watch that learning, like healing, unfolds gradually, with respect for the rhythm of the day and the pulse of life. Outside the temple, the wind brushes the tops of date palms. Leaves sway softly, creating a soothing chorus above the quiet city. The river responds, ripples tracing the shadows of the trees and the faint reflection of lanterns on its surface. A group of travelers pauses by the water, allowing its rhythm to slow their steps. They dip their fingers into the current, feeling both coolness and movement, a gentle reminder that time flows steadily, and that patience is both the journey and the resting place. Near a fountain in a small garden, petals drift across the surface, carried by the smallest of breezes. Each petal is a soft lesson, each circle in the water a teaching of impermanence and care. A mother points to the floating blossoms, explaining to her child the story of a wise ruler who settled disputes with listening before speaking. The child watches the petals merge and separate, learning not from lectures, but from the quiet motion of life itself. In the shadowed corners of the city, a quiet debate unfolds between two elders. Their words are gentle, measured, respectful. Each listens carefully, weighing the other's perspective before responding. The conflict is mild, a gentle spark rather than flame. And yet in the subtle exchange, a lesson emerges. That understanding often comes not through force, but through attention, empathy, and the willingness to slow the heart. The nearby river seems to echo this sentiment, carrying their reflections downstream, dispersing them softly into the night. The moon rises higher, touching every surface with silver. Streets, gardens, and temples gleam softly. The city seems suspended between past and present, between what has been learned and what is yet to be understood. Here, wisdom is not abstract, it is tangible. It is in the curve of a tablet, the ripple of water, the flicker of a lamp, and the measured breath of those who choose to listen. In a quiet home, an elder traces the pattern of stars on the ceiling with a finger, recounting the tale of a sage who found patience in the slow unfolding of seasons. The child beside them follows each motion, eyes half closed, letting the story settle in the mind like soft snow on still earth. There is no rush. There is only presence, each moment complete in itself, each lesson a gentle nudge toward calm and reflection. By the river's bend, a group gathers for a night ritual. They speak quietly, words flowing into song, song flowing into gesture. Hands move slowly, releasing petals and herbs into the current. The water carries every motion forward, every thought outward. The moonlight shimmers across the ripples, reflecting both the sky above and the hearts of those who offer. In this soft ceremony, learning is active yet serene, an intimate dance between action and thought, gesture and understanding. The air carries the scent of jasmine and the distant smoke of a hearth. The city breathes slowly. Every stone, every branch, every ripple seems to hold a memory of ancient teaching. The sage's words, though long spoken and long recorded, find their way into the gentle rhythm of life. They are whispered in the motion of a child's hand, echoed in the careful steps of the priestess, mirrored in the patient flow of water through stone and earth. A lone figure walks along the riverbank, stopping at each bridge and fountain, bowing slightly in acknowledgement of the sacredness that lingers in all places. The water laps softly at their feet, and the light of the lanterns traces their shadow in delicate silver lines. Each motion is deliberate, mindful, quiet. Even the silence is a lesson, teaching that attention and presence can carry as much meaning as words or gestures. Above, the stars move imperceptibly across the sky, following the slow arc of night. Their light seems to pulse in harmony with the rhythm of water and the quiet heartbeats of those who dwell below. Every reflection, every shimmer, every ripple carries with it a story, a whisper, a soft reminder that wisdom unfolds not in haste but in the patient embrace of time, and in the gentle consideration of one another. In the courtyard, children stretch out on mats, tracing constellations in the soft lamp light. Elders sit nearby, hands folded, watching and waiting, offering guidance not with insistence but with presence. Even the wind pauses as though honoring the sacred calm that settles in these spaces. There is a continuity here, a bridge between generations, a soft thread connecting curiosity to reflection, action to understanding. Along the temple steps, a woman sets a bowl of water beneath the moonlight. She whispers a silent prayer, letting the cool liquid mirror her intent. The water carries her thoughts forward, gentle and clear, mingling with every other offering, every quiet act of care. The lesson is simple. Patience nurtures understanding, attention fosters clarity, and even the smallest act, when performed with presence, carries far beyond its immediate space. Finally, the city grows still. The last children sleep by the river, the last lanterns dim, and the moon reaches its zenith. Every movement slows to a careful pause. You drift gently above the city, following the quiet currents of water, the soft echoes of spoken wisdom, and the luminous threads of moonlight stretching across stone, wood, and river. The lessons of the ancients, though silent, are clear. Be patient, be present, and let compassion guide the heart above all. Let us drift onward, following these gentle teachings, carried by silver rivers and soft lantern light. Let the quiet echoes of wisdom ease the mind, soften the heart, and bring the slow peace of night. Every ripple, every whisper, every star reflects a single truth. That calm, thoughtful attention is the truest gift, both to ourselves and to one another. Now rest as the stars return fully, as Babylon breathes softly beneath the moon, and as the teachings of the ancients settle quietly into the mind, carrying every heart into sleep with gentle, unwavering grace. The night unfolds gently, drawing its velvet curtain over the hills and plains. You drift slowly above a quiet landscape, where the silver light of the moon touches every stone, every leaf, and every still pool of water. In the distance, the shapes of temples rise, their walls weathered but upright, standing as soft monuments to faith that once stirred vibrant life within these halls. The air is cool and carries the faint scent of earth and wild herbs. Winds move with gentle patience, brushing across the empty courtyards, lifting loose petals and tracing the edges of worn steps. Even in abandonment, the temples seem alive, breathing quietly, as if memories themselves inhabit the stones, whispering lessons of devotion and care to any who pause to listen. You float closer to the largest of these temples. Its columns are tall and steadfast, though the carvings are softened by time. Figures of guardians and deities, once vivid in color, now rest in muted grace. Shadows gather in their folds, yet they do not feel frightening. Instead, they offer a quiet calm, a reminder that even in stillness, presence persists. The temple holds a kind of gentle patience, teaching that devotion need not always be loud or bright to endure. Inside, dust drifts like tiny clouds, disturbed only by the soft wind that slips through cracks in the stone. Light from the moon filters through broken windows, illuminating old altars and faded murals. Here, you sense prayers that were spoken long ago, each one a soft ripple that still moves through the quiet air. Though voices have long been absent, their echoes linger, gentle and warm, like a lullaby carried through centuries. In the corner of the main hall, a small basin of water rests, untouched but clear. Moonlight touches its surface, and you see reflections of stars mingling with faint ripples, as if the heavens themselves have descended to honor this quiet place. Travelers long ago may have knelt here, letting worries flow away, leaving only intention and reverence behind. Each drop of water seems to hold a lesson of humility, a reminder that faith thrives not only in ceremony, but in moments of stillness and attention. Beyond the hall, side chambers extend like secret paths. Faded frescoes depict scenes of life and ritual, offerings of bread, incense curling skyward, hands lifted in prayer. Each image carries a soft, patient energy, inviting the eye to linger, to breathe, to notice the small details of care. Even in neglect, the temple remains a vessel for reflection, offering shelter not to bodies alone but to the spirit, quiet and unassuming. Outside, a small courtyard rests in shadow. Vines creep along stone walls, weaving patterns that mirror the carvings above. The wind moves slowly through them, brushing petals into the air. The sound is faint, a natural hymn, as if the earth itself sings alongside the silent structures. You watch as a moth drifts between the blossoms, wings catching the pale light, a tiny visitor in a place where time moves differently, slower, softer, kinder. A lone statue stands at the center of the courtyard. Its features are worn, yet the expression remains serene. You feel the weight of centuries in its still gaze. It is not commanding, nor does it demand attention. It is patient, a quiet witness to the ebb and flow of lives that passed before it. Pilgrims may have rested here, seeking solace, finding answers not in loud proclamations, but in the gentle presence of the sacred, enduring beyond any moment of human urgency. In a shadowed alcove, remnants of incense sticks lie in soft heaps. Their aroma lingers faintly, mingling with the cool night air. Though long since burned, their fragrance holds a calm promise, a subtle memory of devotion. You imagine the hands that placed them, careful, deliberate, trusting in something beyond sight. That trust, unspoken and enduring, is the pulse of the temple, as soft as the moonlight filtering across cracked tiles. Above, a gentle owl glides silently, its wings cutting through the night air without sound. It pauses, perching on a column's edge, and surveys the courtyard with quiet awareness. Even nature acknowledges the serenity of this place, moving in harmony with the stillness, respecting the space where human voices no longer speak, but where intention and care continue to dwell. You drift through a long hallway, where carvings of past rituals trace the walls like soft footprints. Hands lifted in blessing, water poured in offering, eyes closed in silent contemplation. The passage of time has softened the edges, but not the meaning. Each mark, each impression, is a lesson in gentle attention, a reminder that faith's strength lies not in noise or spectacle, but in the calm, patient heart. In a small side chamber, a single candle flickers against the wall, its flame lit by the wind passing through an open doorway. The movement casts playful shadows that dance along the stone, delicate as the whispers of those who once knelt here. The flame is tiny but persistent, a symbol of light that endures even in quiet, abandoned spaces. It speaks to the power of presence, showing that even a single act of devotion carries warmth into the dark. You move toward the outer gardens, where soft grass grows unevenly over once-swept paths. Flowers bloom in small clusters, untouched yet vibrant, their colors muted in the silver glow of night. The gentle scent mingles with the cool earth, offering calm to any who pause to breathe. In this garden, it is easy to imagine the hands of caretakers, tending with patience and quiet joy, teaching that love for the sacred is expressed as much in care as in ceremony. A small fountain trickles steadily, water whispering against stone. The sound is soft and continuous, carrying with it a message of persistence. Even in neglect, water flows, and even in silence, faith endures. You linger here, listening to the soft melody, feeling the pulse of life beneath the stillness. It is a reminder that even when all seems quiet, devotion has a rhythm, unseen but unmistakable, guiding hearts with gentle constancy. Along the temple's outer walls, carvings of animals and guardians appear in the dim light. Lions rest with soft eyes, birds perch mid-flight, serpents coil gracefully. The symbols speak not of fear but of protection, a quiet presence that endures regardless of human attention. You sense that every stone is infused with care, every pattern a soft lesson in vigilance and patience. The guardians watch not to judge, but to witness, reminding all who pass that faith is a quiet, enduring companion. You drift across the rooftops, watching the city beyond. Lights twinkle faintly, a mixture of fire and lantern, human warmth mingling with night. The silent temples remain, holding memories, reflecting the sky and breathing softly with the rhythm of the earth. They are places of teaching without words, of guidance without force, of devotion without spectacle. Every empty hall, every quiet courtyard, every still stone carries the pulse of faith, gentle and unwavering. The moon climbs higher, illuminating each corner of the temples with silver grace. Shadows soften and the night deepens into perfect calm. You feel the steady heartbeat of the ancient stones beneath you, a rhythm that echoes patience, presence, and quiet understanding. It is a lesson of endurance, that faith, like the slow passage of moonlight across stone, remains constant and tender, waiting to touch hearts in the softest of ways. A small figure appears, kneeling at the steps of a temple. The person does not move quickly or speak loudly. Their hands rest gently upon the stone, their head bowed, and in the stillness the temple seems to embrace them. Every breath, every slow motion is a conversation with the past, a dialogue with care, patience, and enduring presence. Even in absence, the sacred responds. The wind whispers through columns, through broken windows, through the cracks of walls. It carries the echoes of prayers long spoken, the weightless touch of devotion that never fades. You float above these temples, letting the soft rhythm of the night sink into your awareness. The lessons here are quiet, yet they are profound. Patience in stillness, trust in the unseen, care in the smallest acts, and reverence for the enduring light of faith. Let us drift onward, carrying these lessons with us, following the moonlight over the silent stones, listening to the gentle whisper of wind, water, and memory. Let the quiet of the temples ease the mind, soften the heart, and guide the spirit into gentle rest. Every shadow, every ripple, every stone reminds us that devotion, even when silent, endures through time and carries a calm warmth into every moment of life. Now rest as the stars return fully, as the moon bathes the temples in silver glow, and as the quiet strength of faith settles softly into your thoughts, lulling every mind and heart toward peace. Night spreads gently over the lands of the Fertile Crescent, where rivers wind slowly, reflecting the quiet shimmer of the heavens. You float above, guided by the soft glow of starlight, tracing the paths of constellations that have watched over generations. The sky stretches wide and calm, a gentle roof over valleys, plains, and cities that rest in twilight stillness. The Tigris and Euphrates gleam like silver threads, moving silently, carrying whispers of time and memory. Along their banks, fields and villages lie in the hush of evening, touched by moonlight that softens the edges of stone walls and thatched roofs. The wind moves quietly through the reeds, bending them without hurry, singing a low and tender song. Temples and ziggurats rise along the riverbanks, their outlines softened by the night. The stars seem to lean closer here, casting gentle light over the carved stones and worn steps. Every surface holds stories, some told aloud long ago, others resting quietly in the hearts of those who came before. You drift among them, feeling the pulse of devotion lingering like the faintest fragrance, subtle yet enduring. Here the heavens meet the earth in a quiet embrace. Constellations arch across the sky, their shapes familiar and comforting. Orion's belt shines steadily, a symbol of steadfastness. Cassiopeia rests in gentle tilt, reminding those who look up that grace can persist even in imperfection. The Pleiades cluster together, whispers of unity, soft as a lullaby carried through centuries. Along the river, the water mirrors the sky, doubling the silver light of stars. You notice small boats, long since resting at shore, their sails furled. Once, travelers may have followed these waters, tracing their paths by starlight, seeking both sustenance and guidance. Each ripple in the water carries a quiet memory of those journeys, reflections of hope, devotion, and quiet perseverance. The villages beyond are hushed, the sound of human activity paused. Fires glow faintly in homes, soft amber against the dark. You imagine families resting, sharing quiet stories, listening to the distant call of a night bird or the low murmur of the river. Even in sleep, hearts carry the soft rhythm of devotion, the repeated patterns of life, gentle and enduring like the stars overhead. Above, the night sky stretches endlessly, the Milky Way spilling across it like a silken ribbon. Stars twinkle softly, each one a guardian of memory and intention. You drift slowly among them, feeling the calm that arises when the mind lifts from worldly burdens. Time feels suspended here, measured not by the passing hours but by the quiet pulse of heaven, rivers, and earth. Along the plains, scattered temples and shrines rest in silence. The ziggurats are empty of voices, yet every stone hums with presence. Even in abandonment, devotion endures, carried not in noise but in intention, in the careful placement of offerings, in prayers spoken softly and remembered quietly. You sense the rhythm of countless generations, each adding a gentle layer to the calm that now blankets the land. Moonlight washes over fields, turning grain and grass into silver. A gentle breeze moves through the crops, lifting soft waves that seem to dance in time with the night. Here, peace is measured in the sway of stalks, the quiet murmur of leaves, the distant flash of fireflies. Even in a land marked by history's conflicts, the earth holds calm, a gentle reminder that life carries forward with grace. Near the riverbanks, small pools reflect the stars like mirrors. You drift closer to one, noticing the quiet shimmer of ripples as frogs move softly beneath the water's surface. The reflection seems infinite, blending sky and earth, past and present. In these mirrored waters, the lessons of patience, hope, and devotion shimmer quietly, waiting for hearts willing to observe without rush. A lone figure sits at the edge of a temple step, gazing upward. Their eyes trace constellations, fingers lightly touching the carved stone beneath them. You sense the weight of history in their quiet posture, the rise and fall of cities, the ebb and flow of devotion, the passage of countless lives. Yet here in the still night, a gentle serenity persists, as if the stars themselves lean closer to offer soft comfort. The night is filled with gentle sounds. The rustle of reeds along the river, the far-off croak of frogs, the soft whisper of wind over stone. Even the earth itself seems to breathe slowly, teaching calm without insistence. You drift through these sensations, letting each sound sink into your awareness like a soft exhale, releasing tension, inviting rest. Above, the stars begin their slow journey across the sky. Orion moves with quiet purpose, the Milky Way arches gracefully, and distant planets gleam with patient light. These celestial movements are slow, measured, comforting in their constancy. They remind all who look upward that life continues gently, that devotion, hope, and calm endure, even when time and history shape the world in ways both large and small. In the gardens near temples, fountains bubble softly, water spilling over stone into basins that have held centuries of offerings. The sound is low and rhythmic, a lullaby in its own right. You imagine those who came before, washing their hands, offering soft prayers, resting their spirits in these tranquil waters. The ritual itself becomes a quiet thread linking past to present, a gentle pulse that carries faith forward without demand or urgency. You float across the lands, over villages and temples, rivers and plains, watching the world bathe in silver night. The stars trace stories in the sky, constellations that have inspired countless generations, carrying whispers of wisdom and hope. Even the smallest acts of devotion, lighting a lamp, offering water, closing one's eyes in prayer, resonate in the quiet, echoing softly across time and space. The air grows cooler, soft breezes brushing across rooftops and fields. You sense the rhythm of the land, the subtle sigh of the earth, the gentle ripple of water, the faint heartbeat of communities resting beneath the night. This rhythm teaches patience and acceptance, a reminder that even in times of hardship, calm persists, and the spirit finds ways to endure. In the distance, a small ziggurat rises against the horizon. Moonlight touches its steps and terraces, revealing carvings worn by centuries. You float closer, noticing figures of deities and guardians, silent and still. They do not command, nor do they judge. They watch, patient and calm, holding space for devotion that is both ancient and immediate, a quiet bridge between mortal hearts and the heavens above. Along the river, reflections of stars shimmer like scattered gems. The water moves softly, slow and deliberate, carrying memories of prayers, of hopes whispered on cool nights, of hands lifted in gentle care. The current is constant but calm, a teacher of persistence, patience, and quiet attention. You drift with it, letting each ripple carry you into deeper awareness of stillness and presence. Night creatures stir quietly, the soft wingbeat of owls, the gentle call of distant night birds, the subtle rustle of small mammals through grass. Each sound is delicate, unobtrusive, part of the nighttime symphony that complements the stars above. You feel yourself floating in this harmony, where earth, sky, water, and life move together with gentle grace. A small fire flickers faintly in a distant village, unnoticed by most, yet alive in warmth. You imagine the hands that tend it, careful and steady, offering sustenance and light. It is a quiet act, yet its presence is profound, a reminder that devotion and care exist not only in grand temples or vast rituals, but also in the soft, tender acts that nurture life and spirit. You drift higher, watching the whole crescent of land bathe under the night sky. Rivers, plains, temples, and villages rest beneath the calm silver glow. The stars shine steadily, constellations tracing timeless paths. Everything feels measured, gentle, and enduring. Even history's challenges seem to soften here, embraced by the quiet persistence of earth, sky, and devotion. Let us drift onward, carried by the soft light of moon and stars, over rivers that shimmer like liquid silver, across lands shaped by devotion and patience. The lessons of countless generations, hope, care, calm, and enduring faith, hover like starlight, available to every heart willing to receive them. Now rest, as the stars return fully overhead, as the moon casts silver paths over temples and rivers, and as the fertile crescent sleeps beneath gentle skies. Let your spirit settle in this quiet, your heart touched by the enduring light of devotion, and your mind cradled by the calm and endless beauty of the night.